Oh, I know what's different about you. Let me guess. Horizon?
Shut up! No, nothing!
Do what you want. I don't recognize you as my sister anymore.
Akkee, isn't it cool that even though the sun and the moon are rivals, they can still find time to be together?
They aren't rivals, silly. They're just different.
Just like us, right?
Yes, like us, brother.
Akkee! Akkee!
I'll be fine. Take him down.
I knew she couldn't do it.
おい！それスノボじゃなくて人体だから。それにこれってケツでブレーキかけるやつだし、吉原大炎上の次は異世界大炎上なんてシャレになりませんから。
バカ！これぐらい犠牲を払ってこそコラボに対しての俺たちの気合が伝わるってもんだろ。
銀ちゃんの言う通りある。コラボのためなら尻の一つや二つ差し出して当然ね。
ゲームは終わりだ。
え、皆さん、それって銃？
嫌
なしでやってくんねえか、サダール。そいつは新八じゃねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか？ケリーさん本当にごめんなさい。
さて、行き先は？
ってもしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
Hey there, want to see something cool? Isn't it cute? Let's see what other sea creatures we can discover. What beautiful scenes are hiding under the sea? Let's explore the Undersea mystery. Play matches and complete missions to earn tokens. Then use them to observe sea creatures and unlock them in your guide. The more you discover, the more rewards you can claim. Make sure to check in often, because rare sea creatures will periodically generate extra tokens. In Battle Royale, the adventure starts before you even land with a brand new whale-themed airplane. On Bermuda, look for mysterious whirlpool entrances that take you to the fresh, cool undersea realm. The high-tier loot zone becomes the Hydro Zone, surrounded by towering water walls. Don't worry though, you and your bullets can still pass through freely. Giant whales will also fly across the sky and drop bubble airdrops as they fly by. And yes, you can fish mid-match. Fishing spots will appear around the map, letting you reel in fish or even loot. Find upgraded fishing spots for even better rewards. Some fish will even follow you after you catch them and grant special buffs. Plus, there's a new event weapon, the Hydro Blaster. Hold fire to spray a continuous, super accurate water beam. When you run out of ammo or reload manually, a QuickTime event will pop up. Hit it to fast reload and gain a buff. Some other weapons can get this QTE reload too, so try them out when you find them. In Clash Squad, the Hydro Blaster is also available, along with the same QTE reload bonuses on select weapons. The Undersea Realm joins the Bermuda map pool, and cyber airdrops and spawn areas get themed visuals too. The ocean secrets are waiting for you to discover. Expect the unexpected. Random events may now pop up in Clash Squad to shake things up. You might start round 1 with 1,000 cash, get a random melee weapon each round, receive blue walls over time, and more. Good news to all tactical market enthusiasts. You can now deploy a tactical gadget right at your position with a simple tap. Fast and easy. Meet Ray the Watchman. Wielding both sun and moon power, he's on a mission to scatter the darkness. His active skill, Bond of Eclipse, tags the first unbound enemy hit in a fan-shaped area and creates a link with them that only Ray and the target can see. If Ray reduces the tagged enemy to a certain HP or below, they get instantly knocked down. If the target is knocked down or eliminated while tagged, Ray's skill resets immediately. For more skill adjustments, here's a quick overview. Some weapons have received balance changes. Check them out. Say hi to Pyro, your new fiery companion. Log in daily to watch Pyro grow and earn rewards. You'll meet Pyro for the first time when you open your profile. Choose Pyro's personality, drag them around your profile or lobby, and watch them pull off all kinds of cool moves. Pyro has 3 states: active, faded, and inactive. Daily logins keep Pyro active. Missing logins dim the flames, and staying away too long makes Pyro inactive. No worries though. Log back in and this little flame'll jump right into action. Every login boosts Pyro's EXP. Keep it going and Pyro will level up from a tiny spark to the ultimate fire puncher. You can also unlock new looks and accessories to give Pyro even more heat. Presets will no longer be locked in once matchmaking starts.
Takes the lead.
Even better, you'll be able to adjust them in the cabin or before the first CS round starts. However, you'll not be able to switch presets once you've used the loadout. Don't forget to tap the preset button to check out what presets your teammates are using before making your choice. In-match quick messages are now smarter and will suggest messages based on what's happening on the battlefield. Tap on the message to send it out to teammates. Some messages will even auto-mark enemies on the mini-map for you. See a player with impressive stats at the end of a match? You can now invite them to your team right from the match results page. Team invites are also smoother. If you accept a booking request while you're in a match, you'll join your friend's team as soon as your current match ends, so you'll never miss an invite again. We can't wait for you to try out the improved filter system and new themed filters like Cyberpunk and Golden Era. Looking for a smoother gaming experience? Try out the new frame rate boost feature. If your frame rate is set to high or above, open settings and enable this feature to enjoy crisper, smoother gameplay. If you love the competitive vibe, the new CS custom room updates are for you. Now you can choose a specific map area for each round to get targeted practice. What's more, play and win like a pro with the new ban and pick mode, complete with the new ban and pick feature, and esports-styled CS store and gameplay rules. And that's it for today. See you next time, survivors!
Akkee said the moon and the sun aren't rivals. I still believe in that.
Actually, I'm already there.
Talk to you later! Woo, such a welcoming committee.
Get him now!
Not now, Shiro.
Watch out, Ray! It could be a trap!
Yeah, thought about that too. I'm okay, man. Hold your horse.
It's so good to see you, Akkee.
I'm sorry, Ray. But you should know, things are not like in the past. I don't want to hurt you, brother.
Come on, a simple hug would do it.
Things are different now. Give me your device and get away!
This time I'll decide for myself what to do, sis.
Oh, I know what's different about you. Let me guess. Horizon?
Shut up! No, nothing!
Do what you want. I don't recognize you as my sister anymore.
Akkee, isn't it cool that even though the sun and the moon are rivals, they can still find time to be together?
They aren't rivals, silly. They're just different.
Just like us, right?
Yes, like us, brother.
Akkee!
I'll be fine.
I knew she couldn't do it.
おい！それスノボじゃなくて人体だから。それにこれってケツでブレーキかけるやつだし、吉原大炎上の次は異世界大炎上なんてシャレになりませんから。
バカ！これぐらい犠牲を払ってこそコラボに対しての俺たちの気合が伝わるってもんだろ。
銀ちゃんの言う通りある。コラボのためなら尻の一つや二つ差し足して当然ね。
ゲームは終わりだ。
え、皆さん、それって銃？
いけるぞカグラ。開発チームから聞かされてねえよ。
しつこい男は嫌いやろ。
アームストロング最高です。アームストロング。なんでこんなとこにまで。
話してやってくんねえかサダール。そいつは新橋じゃねえんだ。
僕なら噛まれてもいいってことですか？ヘリさん本当にごめんなさい。
さて行き先は
ピーク
ってもしかして僕またメガネだけになってない？
Want to see something cool? Isn't it cute? Let's see what other sea creatures we can discover. What beautiful scenes are hiding under the sea? Let's explore the Undersea mystery. Play matches and complete missions to earn tokens. Then use them to observe sea creatures and unlock them in your guide. The more you discover, the more rewards you can claim. Make sure to check in often, because rare sea creatures will periodically generate extra tokens. In Battle Royale, the adventure starts before you even land with a brand new whale-themed airplane. On Bermuda, look for mysterious whirlpool entrances that take you to the fresh, cool undersea realm. The high-tier loot zone becomes the Hydro Zone, surrounded by towering water walls. Don't worry, though. You and your bullets can still pass through freely. Giant whales will also fly across the sky and drop bubble airdrops as they fly by. And yes, you can fish mid-match. Fishing spots will appear around the map, letting you reel in fish or even loot. Find upgraded fishing spots for even better rewards. Some fish will even follow you after you catch them and grant special buffs. Plus, there's a new event weapon, the Hydro Blaster. Hold fire to spray a continuous, super accurate water beam. When you run out of ammo or reload manually, a QuickTime event will pop up. Hit it to fast reload and gain a buff. Some other weapons can get this QTE reload too, so try them out when you find them. In Clash Squad, the Hydro Blaster is also available, along with the same QTE reload bonuses on select weapons. The Undersea Realm joins the Bermuda map pool, and cyber airdrops and spawn areas get themed visuals too. The ocean secrets are waiting for you to discover. Expect the unexpected. Random events may now pop up in Clash Squad to shake things up. You might start round 1 with 1,000 cash, get a random melee weapon each round, receive blue walls over time, and more. Good news to all tactical market enthusiasts. You can now deploy a tactical gadget right at your position with a simple tap. Fast and easy. Meet Ray the Watchman. Wielding both sun and moon power, he's on a mission to scatter the darkness. His active skill, Bond of Eclipse, tags the first unbound enemy hit in a fan-shaped area and creates a link with them that only Ray and the target can see. If Ray reduces the tagged enemy to a certain HP or below, they get instantly knocked down. If the target is knocked down or eliminated while tagged, Ray's skill resets immediately. For more skill adjustments, here's a quick overview. Some weapons have received balance changes. Check them out. Say hi to Pyro, your new fiery companion. Log in daily to watch Pyro grow and earn rewards. You'll meet Pyro for the first time when you open your profile. Choose Pyro's personality, drag them around your profile or lobby, and watch them pull off all kinds of cool moves. Pyro has 3 states: active, faded, and inactive. Daily logins keep Pyro active. Missing logins dim the flames, and staying away too long makes Pyro inactive. No worries though. Log back in and this little flamehead will jump right into action. Every login boosts Pyro's EXP. Keep it going and Pyro will level up from a tiny spark to the ultimate fire puncher. You can also unlock new looks and accessories to give Pyro even more heat. Presets will no longer be locked in once matchmaking starts. Even better, you'll be able to adjust them in the cabin or before the first CS round starts. However, you'll not be able to switch presets once you've used the loadout. Don't forget to tap the preset button to check out what presets your teammates are using before making your choice. In-match quick messages are now smarter and will suggest messages based on what's happening on the battlefield. Tap on the message to send it out to teammates. Some messages will even auto-mark enemies on the mini-map for you. See a player with impressive stats at the end of a match? You can now invite them to your team right from the match results page. Team invites are also smoother. If you accept a booking request while you're in a match, you'll join your friend's team as soon as your current match ends, so you'll never miss an invite again. We can't wait for you to try out the improved filter system and new themed filters like Cyberpunk and Golden Era. Looking for a smoother gaming experience? try out the new frame rate boost feature. If your frame rate is set to high or above, open settings and enable this feature to enjoy crisper, smoother gameplay. If you love the competitive vibe, the new CS custom room updates are for you. Now you can choose a specific map area for each round to get targeted practice. What's more, play and win like a pro with the new ban and pick mode, complete with the new ban and pick feature, an esports-styled CS store, and gameplay rules. And that's it for today. See you next time, survivors!
Akkee said the moon and the sun aren't rivals. I still believe in that.
Actually, I'm already there.
Talk to you later! Woo, such a welcoming committee.
Get him now!
Not now, Shiro.
Watch out, Ray. It could be a trap.
Yeah, thought about that too. I'm okay, man. Hold your horse.
Dude, Ray.
It's so good to see you, Akkee.
I'm sorry, Ray. But you should know, things are not like in the past. I don't want to hurt you, brother.
Come on. A simple hug would do it.
Things are different now. Give me your device and get away!
This time I'll decide for myself what to do, sis. Oh, I know what's different about you. Let me guess. Horizon?
Shut up! No, nothing!
Hello everybody and welcome back to Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring. This is the second day of the main event and today my name is Crips, with me is Arka. We are going to be your casters for the day.
Absolutely, I'm super excited for what's gonna come today because it's Group B. We're gonna be joining Group C, who's gonna be joining us with that of Group B, and I strongly feel that there's gonna be a lot of intense action because we have got some fan favorite teams coming in, like Total Gaming, and then I believe that I can put Hotshots also in this list.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more teams that can be put up on this list. I mean, if these teams have reached up until this level, that kind of means that they've garnered a bunch of fans already. Yesterday, we saw how the teams of Groups A and B did really well for themselves, at least most of them did. But today, the teams of Groups B and C will grace us with their presence in the battlefield, which means we will be seeing some of these teams for the first time. Teams from Group C like Dewa United, even Team Akkee for that matter, we haven't really seen what they have to bring to the table. But before we actually call these teams, let's take a look at their journey so far.
Yeah, so far it has been a phenomenal run for all the teams who got qualified into the main event. We just finished our South Asia play-ins in the previous week, and now we have headed towards the main event, that is 14th, 15th and 16th. We are midway through, we have another day to go, and from there 12 teams will qualify into the grand finals. That's going to be happening this Sunday or 17th of May.
Yep, it's going to be a phenomenal weekend, and so far we're already done with the first day of the main event. The second day is today, and that means tomorrow it's going to be the last day for these teams to get inside the top 12. Only the top 12 will make it to the grand final, where they will be facing off each other in a champion rush format. The tournament so far has been unforgiving for all of these teams. We started with the South Asia play-ins, where 18 teams were invited. All of these teams were the top performing teams from their respective regions in South Asia, and only 8 of them qualified for the main event, which means we had to bid goodbye to 10 of them. And now in the main event, we will obviously be taking the 8 from the South Asia play-ins, but then 4 more South Asian teams, the best from India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Pakistan, will also be joining them, along with 6 invited teams from Southeast Asia, 2 teams from Thailand, Malaysia and Indonesia each.
Yeah, absolutely. And then comes the champion rush format, where the team will first have to reach 18 points in the grand finals. Then and only then will they have the opportunity to activate the champion rush condition. And once they do that, it's going to be them acquiring or crowning themselves champions of Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring.
Yep. And these guys are fighting for a bunch of money. Obviously, they are also fighting for the bragging rights, which comes along with winning such a prestigious tournament. But obviously, it feels better when that money hits your bank account. And out of the whopping $50,000 prize pool, the winner walks away with $15,000. The second place team gets only $7,500, and the third place team gets $3,500. Similarly, the amount of money you win keeps reducing as we go down this journey. But just by virtue of making it into the main event, you secure a minimum payout of $500. Obviously, nobody wants just $500. You want the bigger prize. But just by virtue of making it into the main event, you have secured at least a little bit. Although if you make it to the main event, then you will start to enter the 4-digit bigger numbers.
The harder you work, the more money you take home is the ultimate thing when we look at the prize pool. But how do these teams put points on the table? Everybody knows this. It's the default way of acquiring the maximum amount of points. Yes, eventually, when it comes to the placements, you need to have a booyah under you. And once you acquire the booyah, you're going to get 12 points. If you're at the second position, you get 9. If you get on the third position, you get 8. And the number dwindles down according to your position. The 11th and the 12th position teams walk away with nothing, but they can look upon the brighter side. And that is to pick up 1 point per elimination.
Exactly, and considering that all of these teams have been fighting day in and day out, most of them want to pad up their stats using just the eliminations, and that has been the key deciding factor for a lot of these teams' victories. But in case there's a tie, we will first check the number of booyahs, then we will check the number of eliminations, and then finally we will check their placement in the final standing. But while these teams try to acquire as many points as possible, they will need to make sure that they have every player using a different active skill, which means no 2 players can have the same active skill in the same team.
This is making things so much more interesting, right? I know that we are already done with it, but still the combination keeps changing. The team with this success in each and every game have come out with different combinations. And before we speak further about it, we're going to look at the team list. This is where we have a new group coming in. That is going to be Group B. Dewa United Horus, we have Hotshot Esports, we have got Total Gaming, we have got NXT Esports, Straw Hats and Team Akkee. All of them will be fighting out Group B.
Yep, And while we have not seen the teams like Dewa United, Horus, Hotshot Esports and Team Akkee previously perform in this tournament because they have just been invited into the main event directly and we will only see them perform today, we have seen teams like NXT and Total Gaming duke it out during the South Asia play-ins. So that might just be a bit difficult for these teams because they have already been witnessed, they have already been spotted during the South Asia play-ins. People know what they play like.
Absolutely, but the teams who have already played yesterday, who have showcased a lot of firepower, are on our screens right now. Horaa, especially with Buru, doing so much of things in the lobby, so much of chaos in the lobby, with Savage and his teammates looking forward for their comeback today because themselves and Extreme, these are the two teams who are looking very promising at the get-go, but later on they got suppressed by that of Team Hind.
Yeah, unfortunately, they couldn't really do all that much, but hopefully they should be able to do a much better job during the main event. We also have Pandora Stars. I'm really looking forward to see what Kisan's bring to the table because he's been firing on all cylinders. Even yesterday, he was doing a phenomenal job. Godlike Esports missed out on the Free Fire Max India Cup 2026 Spring trophy by just a narrow margin, but hopefully they can lift the trophy over here and prove that they are better. Dewa United Horus, really a force to be reckoned with, a force of nature descending from Indonesia into the battlefield. These two Indonesian teams, Dewa United Horus and Pandora Stars, will definitely light up the battlefield today. And to add to the mix, you also have the best team from Pakistan, Hotshot Esports. And this team also has a lot of firepower that you need to be careful about.
Speak about firepower, how can we not speak about Total Gaming? One of those teams who know domination by just another, it's a cakewalk for them basically. And that's got to be Total Gaming as the complete lineup looks as promising as they've always been. With them comes the next team, that's got to be NXT, who have also been phenomenal. Previously known as Reckoning Esports, have come up with the complete lineup to, cause havoc in the lobby.
Yeah. And then last but not the least, we've also got Team Akkee from Thailand. Most of the Thai teams are known to be extremely ferocious with a lot of firepower. And while Akkee might not be the finest representative of Thailand, they still pack a massive amount of firepower that all these other teams need to be wary about. And especially teams of Group B need to be extra careful because for them, this is going to be the last day to put up as many points as possible. We are expecting the cutoff to be somewhere around the 150 to 170 point mark. That is the safe zone. And in this particular screen, you can see how far these teams are from the safe zone.
Absolutely. Only two teams as close as they can be. It's got to be Godlike and Horaa, who have done a decent job, have done the hard work. They're going to be reaping benefits out of it today. They might be the teams out of pressure, but teams like Extreme X as well as GG Instance, these are the team. And let's not forget that we also got EWG. These are the teams who will have to step it up, who will have to bring a lot more on the table in case they want to qualify into the further stages.
That's correct. Lakar EWG is in a lot of trouble. 35 points doesn't seem to be nearly enough. So that means they will have to score somewhere around 120 points today to get them into the safety zone. Even Extreme X, for that matter, they were performing really well during the South Asia play-ins. They were one of the top 5 teams, and they were definitely putting up such impressive numbers. I cannot imagine that yesterday was a very mediocre day for them. For a team of their caliber, 43 points is not impressive. And while I'm sure they can mount a comeback, while I'm sure they are the kind of team that can get 100 points in a single day, it puts a lot of undue pressure on them, especially when they have their last 6 games today.
And look at this. I like this stat coming in because it shows us that which among these maps are actually, more of action oriented, where you expect a lot of eliminations to come through. And we have next year topping the charts with 4 games played. We got an average of 100 eliminations in every single game being played out there. And as we move further, Solara has got 97, Bermuda has got 95. I know Purgatory is a bigger map and you expect it to have a slow pace. With that comes a little bit of a lesser eliminations, and we're speaking about average in every single game.
Yep. And I'm actually surprised that even though Purgatory has 91 average eliminations, on a regular, it has been termed as a low action map. It's called low action because there's not enough eliminations, but you gotta realize that every elimination on Purgatory is way more difficult to achieve, especially since it's such an open map, and especially because the consequences of overcommitting to a fight can be devastating. You might just be able to farm a bunch of eliminations, but you will also have to pay the price with your life that much harder if you make any mistakes on Purgatory. As for Nextera, because there's so many urban compounds and there's so many places to hide, people can survive even as single solo man units. And because of the abundance of vending machines, it's quite easy to bring your teammates back. And that's why we expect Nextera, the map, to be the highest on an average elimination leaderboard, to be the #1 map over here. We're going to start off with a banger with Nextera itself, and then we're going to move on to Kalahari and Purgatory, two of the more moderate and low action maps. Then once again, after the halfway point of the day, we're going to kick things into high gear once more. We're going to drop into Solara, which again has the second most highest average eliminations in this entire game. And then finally, we're going to go to Bermuda as the penultimate game of the day. But what is the 6th map going to be? We don't know yet, and we probably won't even find out up until 9:20 p.m.
Absolutely. Now again, let's remember yesterday's game. We did end up with a Bermuda, and it was amazing. The teams were not at all prepared for that default map, even though there were teams who actually caught up, who made a proper comeback like Godlike, and so I'm expecting them to have a good momentum starting off today. But again, the first map is going to be Nextera. That itself shows that things are going to be so much more interesting because of that high action game. And looking at the drop spots, we see a lot of teams out there who are looking for some early action. I know Museum and Twin Bridge are not that much into taking for any of these teams. From Topia is also not considered for a drop, but look at how Boxing Gym, Zipway and Grave Labs is packed with at least 2 teams for some early skirmish.
Ooh, yep, I am expecting all those places to turn into actual war zones with like so many bullets flying about that there's a third party, fourth party opportunity on the horizon almost constantly. But I am also excited to see what happens in Intellectual Center when Dewa United Horus clash against Extreme EX. In the South Asia play-ins, we saw that Extreme EX were able to contest Intellect Center pretty well. Whenever teams like Hind or even Total Gaming for that matter were fighting against them, Extreme EX were able to hold them off. So I expect them to do a similar job over here as well.
Yeah.
Even though Dewa United Horus is a much stronger team than the teams they've faced in the South Asia play-ins, I expect Extreme EX to be able to hold their ground.
Absolutely. Now again, there's been so much changes in the game style of the Indian teams as well. We have seen them being very aggressive in the initial maps, but later they're able to adapt to every other lobby as quickly as possible, and that's one of the reasons why the Indian teams are shining brighter than the rest of them. But today could be a different game because we have got some really strong teams coming in. I'm gonna inclined towards Dewa because they're also one of those teams which kind of have a good firepower, who can understand and adapt to the lobby. With them, I'm going to stick with Total Gaming. Who doesn't want to support Total Gaming at this point of time?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we only have like one spot which is like somewhat contested. You've picked Horaa, I've picked Pandora Stars. I picked Pandora Stars because I cannot believe that in urban areas they have a much better chance as opposed to open areas. So if at all the zone goes somewhere towards Zipway or anything other than Decker Square, honestly, I think Pandora Stars will be able to have a really good time in this map, except for Decker Square because that's like the only place where you don't have enough, cover.
I mean, one of the reasons why I went to Horaa is because of their consistency. They've already proven to us that once they have that momentum going, they don't just go in with one big game and then lose the rest of it all. They try to maintain that momentum throughout the day, and that's one of the reasons why I think that they might open the gates of hell in the first game itself. And with moments to come, we'll be stepping in the map of Nextera, before which I would like to bring in the audience over here, right? I want to know, what do you guys feel which team might walk away with the first booyah? Because there are several factors. There are several teams out there from different regions who have been showcasing some phenomenal gameplays. So you can, predict the best because you are from your respective regions.
Yep. I hope that you guys can support your favorite teams, not necessarily from your region as well, even if you think there's another team from another region which can really have a good time in this tournament, that I hope that you are able to support them as well, because across all of Asia, the only thing that remains consistent is your love and your support for these teams. So even though as an entire region we've been split up into several countries and every country wants to send their best troops forward, it's your love that keeps us united.
Absolutely. Now, the interesting part is I still feel like we have not seen the complete action of this tournament. I feel like, today's day is just going to be a stepping stone for some, annihilation, which is going to be coming up tomorrow, because there's going to be a D-Day where teams will have to reach to that mark. But today is going to be the day where Group B is going to be playing all the games, and for that reason they have an opportunity to set a benchmark, and once they do it, that is where the other teams will try to topple them, or rather touch that benchmark to qualify into the grand finals.
Yeah, and one of the teams that I'm actually hoping to see in the grand finals is going to be Extreme X from Bangladesh. They finished third in their regional championship in the FFBPL, but even though they're not the strongest team from Bangladesh, even though Straw Hats, they were the winners of the Bangladeshi tournament, I'm hoping that Extreme X is able to put up a lovely amount of points today so that we can see them in the grand finals. We've seen them do it in the South Asia Plains. They are a team that's capable of putting 100+ points out in a single day. But imagine if Extreme X is capable of doing that, then what is Straw Hats capable of? I think these guys will be even more ferocious, even more ruthless, considering they are the best team from Bangladesh.
Absolutely, because the one thing which I'm starting to love about Bangladeshi teams as well as that of Thailand teams is that the snipers in close range are starting to be phenomenal. They're trying to adapt to a very different kind of a meta where they don't shy away from a close range fights, especially snipers. So I strongly feel like, that could be an X factor, just in case they're able to replicate it and convert those 4v4s. But coming back to it, I feel like, in the upcoming games where we slowly drift towards those default maps of Kalahari, Purgatory, and then step back to Solara, there's going to be a lot of pressure building up on the players because they'll have to adapt according to the games.
Yeah, and I hope these players can adapt to the heat of the lobby, because as you guys know, Nextera is the map with the most amount of eliminations on an average, which means this game is going to be a bloodbath. Put your hands together for Nextera, ladies and gentlemen. We are kicking off this day with an absolute banger.
A banger it is, because Nextera map is going to bring in so much action, ladies and gentlemen. The flight path itself is going to predict how many teams will look forward for some early skirmish. As we see the flight path for now, starting all the way from Placeria, ending towards the Intellect Center. Even though it's not dissecting the map to the very center, it's kind of inclined a little bit towards the eastern side, allowing teams to kind of look forward for those early fights. Placeria, I can see that Voodoo is kind of getting close to Godlike and then trying to fall back to understand the lobby. No teams is interested for an early skirmish. This is kind of a shocker to me.
Unless you are Team Akkee, who end up locking horns against Lakar EWG. And Lakar EWG, even though they have very little points to themselves, they might just have a chance today. If Hamim survives for just a few more minutes, he should be able to bring his teammates back. But Akkee, they don't lose a single player. They pick everybody up back on their feet. And they don't have to go in towards the vending machines. They don't have to go for the full respawn. They can just pick up their teammates. The last member of Lakar EWG still lurking around in grab labs, hoping that nobody spots him. Is just hiding and biding his time. Meanwhile, towards Zipway, you've got GG Instinct taking on Pandora Stars.
Pandora Stars. Even yesterday we saw that they are interested to take some early eliminations. Tiger running out in the open might be getting taken down out here. Tiger has been phenomenal with his sniper, and he's got a bit of an advantage looking at the mid-range. Does get tagged off a little bit. Shots coming in from two different directions. Otonga will now have to run away, and look at that stealth mode and then change his position.
Otang, while he stays put over here behind the tree, he doesn't have any glue walls to work with. So if he gets caught out in the open, it's open season. And Tiger cleans it up without any problems. activates the stealth fights and goes around collecting some tokens so that he can bring Swaroop back. Patlu is already up there on the high ground, but Pandora Stars are trying to rush him down. They know that he's alone over here. They know that the fourth member of this GG Instinct team is nowhere in position to provide Patlu any backup. But the respawns are in. GG Instinct managed to get all 4 of their players back online. And guess what the cat dragged in? Even the Straw Hats have arrived on scene to third party in on this one.
Straw Hats need to be careful. Because Pandora, once they have a good momentum, they don't shy away from fights. But now it seems like Straw Hats had a bit of a fun with the grenade they had. But they're going to be wanting some more. Pandora, since 3 of the players are stuck at this vicinity, now they'll have to be careful. Look at those shots connecting. A marvelous job coming in from the other side, and the jump comes in as well using the mini launchers. Pandora seems like they were getting taken down, but the recovery is real, and they look forward for some retaliation because Straw Hats, they're divided at this point of time.
Ooh, Straw Hats. Yeah, that's what happens when you try to land on top of your enemies. What? Oh, never mind. It was Extra who landed that shot. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. How did Who manage to land that shot mid-air? It wasn't him. It was someone else. But at least Who drops in a position where he can be revived by shock. So that's cool. Straw Hats recover from their losses. And they have 3 eliminations to their name already. Oh no, wait, what? How did Dewa United get wiped out? That too by NXT? That's insane. NXT were fighting Horaa Esports. My bad, they didn't get eliminated by NXT. Even Pandora Stars, they were discovered. Oh my god, within a matter of seconds, 2 teams just have an early exit from this entire game.
Shocker, shocker. I never expected this to happen, especially with both our predictions going down the drain. Now I'm looking forward to see which among these teams are going to just impress us. But now Horaa, they're trying to run away from this position because NXT, they're looking savage. Look at Sabo. He's been phenomenal. Look at that. They find Savage as well. They put him down, get that confirmation, and this time it's going to be EXE who wants to come in and have a piece of the spy.
Extreme X, taking long range shots onto Ash. Flicker eliminates Ash. Flicker might just be able to get the shot onto Hemu as well. And while he does knock down Hemu, can he get revived? No, he can't. Bleeds out. Sabo does get the respawn onto him. So NXT are back at full strength. But the other 2 teammates will not have enough loot to continue fighting Extreme X. And so far, Extreme X have done a really good job of defending Intellect Center. Oh, this is how Dewa United were wiped out. And it was indeed NXT that wiped them out. So NXT at that time were fighting not only Dewa United Horus, but they were also fighting Horaa Esports. NXT, I believe that they might just have bitten off a bit more than they could have chewed. Taking on 2 of Southeast Asia's finest teams at the same time is indeed a difficult task, but they completed it successfully and they live to tell the tale.
An impressive one to start the day off. That's going to build a lot of confidence for them. But now they're on the receiving end of things. Hemu, the best part is they've got that split which is working out for them. Even though players have got cleared off, a quick revival comes through. It's gonna be tough for Sabo to, kind of step away from fights. But for now, EXE, now they've targeted one of the strongest teams of the Indian lobby. And that's gonna be Total Gaming. Mafia, who comes up to show a little bit of his head, does get punished a little bit.
I think he might just have been punished a lot. As far as... Can he continue plundering his opponents? Extreme X, are they aware about Shanky crushing in close? Sijan is aware about it. Puts up a glue wall just to make sure he doesn't get knocked from the left side. But Delete finds the angle from the right. And now Shanky goes in. Time Turner deployed, which means he could have picked up Delete. But they are not just fighting Extreme X anymore. Even Godlike are trying to third party in on this one. Meanwhile, Flicker, he's so far away from his teammates, he can't provide them any backup. But he can provide a lovely flank angle. Rusty is enough to send back up. And after they lost Sajan, it seems like they've pushed Total Gaming back into a more passive stance. They cannot afford to continue pushing onwards anymore.
All thanks to Godlike's approach in this fight. The third party situation was perfect, but sadly the receiving end of things were Total Gaming. And EXE, they realized that there's a team approaching. And look at them. They're not shying away from a fight for now. Shanky has got to be caught behind probably behind a pillar of a bridge. But Yogi is still looking for those sniper shots to connect. Tucson is pressurizing Shanky to come out of that cover. Godlike is also looking for to get him down. And let's see which among these two teams will be able to get that finish for themselves.
Yeah, Godlike have been kind of late the entire tournament. Every time they try to pick up a fight in even the South Asia play-ins, they arrived at an opportunity where the teams that they could have shot down had already reset from the fight that they were in. They had already recovered their health, and Godlike were no longer third-partying. They were just starting a fresh new fight, which doesn't make sense for them. They find themselves in a similar situation again, but Straw Hat find themselves in trouble. NXT have been winning a lot of these gunfights, and finally Sabo gets eliminated, but it's completely inconsequential because Straw Hats are about to get eliminated entirely. It's just down to Shocked, and he's getting chased well outside the zone. NXT have enough time to lick their wounds, heal themselves, and continue chasing Shocked, who isn't running away. He was just running towards the car. But this car can be shot down as soon as it enters the line of sight, and he might just have to crush Ash's POE as well. Heimu chasing him in a pickup drop of his own, slams right into him, pushing Shocked further away. Ash can't take shots anymore, but the car has been blown up, and Ash is ready to welcome Shocked over there. But just before Shocked gets knocked, he does get the respawn onto Who. So Straw Hats still have one player somewhere floating in the sky, landing down on the ground, and they are not dead yet.
NXT, they're showcasing some real good firepower. Look at them. Those early 9 eliminations is going to build so much confidence. Nothing take away from EXE or Horaa, but we never expected NXT to start things off. At least I did not expect them to play so good in the first game itself. Sabo leading the charges with 5 eliminations of his own. This team is looking impressive. Straw Hats on the other side, after getting Who revived, he was able to get to another vending machine to revive rest of his teammates, or rather one more teammate, because of the lack of those coins. And I believe after this they'll look forward to get some more.
I like this from NXT. 3 people in one car, but not 4. So this way, if the car blows up, the entire team doesn't get eliminated. Let's take a look at what the map shows us, because as of now, on our screens, you can see NXT are driving into the zone, but they're still quite far away. Ash is much closer to the zone, but he's also close to Total Gaming, unfortunately. So he needs to hold his ground and not pull the trigger until his teammates arrive. Mafia is busy shooting at Straw Hats all the way from Boxing Gym to Farmtopia. That's an extremely long distance fight. But Mafia doesn't account for Ash literally driving up behind him and shooting him in the back of his head. Yeah, he got too distracted.
By the third circle, NXT have got 10 eliminations, and they're looking strong. And the teams prioritizing the center of the circle. Those early rotators are finding themselves some really good hard cover, and that could be problematic for teams like NXT, who are taking their sweet time to make it inside the circle. Since they tagged off Total Gaming, we've got so much information about this team now. I strongly feel that Total Gaming might gatekeep them. But guess what? Guess what has happened? The shocker. Yet again, it's got to be Total Gaming who just got eliminated from this lobby. And I wonder how.
Yeah, they were trying to rotate into the zone quite late, but unfortunately there were people ready to welcome them with open arms and open fire. They walk into a trap and they are instantly destroyed. And speaking of getting destroyed, even Lakar EWG seem to be in a lot of trouble. Team Extreme X have them surrounded on all sides. Launcher also put down, hoping to get some elevation and get inside this little cocoon of blue walls. Rapal, he lands 2 great shotgun pumps, and despite his best efforts, Lakar EWG will be eliminated. Even though he did get 2 knocks, it simply wasn't enough.
Godlike needs to watch out. His hot shots are right above them, and it could be a little bit problematic. Whereas far away, we see the 2 teams who have always been in a kerfuffle. It's got to be GG Instance versus Godlike. It seems like, both of them have a rotation very similar to one another. Or rather, I would say the homework was done very well from that of GG Instance, who always look forward to get some eliminations from that of Godlike. With that being said, we have got Hotshots trying to approach it from the skies, from the bridge. They're watching the circle. They're gaining as much information as possible, because they know knowledge is power.
Knowledge is indeed power, but despite having all the knowledge, you might not have the best position. because Hotshot Esports have a great position on top of this bridge right now. They've even got the monster truck for cover. But if the zone forces them to drop down and relinquish their high ground, then they'll be in trouble, because there's very few compounds remaining. Very little pieces of real estate. GG Instant, Godlike Esports, Hotshot, all of them entrenched nicely into this zone. Hotshot does take a couple of losses against GG Instinct. A couple of teams are shooting at them, but nothing that will really make them concerned just yet. They've still got their reinforced glue walls. They've still got plenty of angles where they can just go prone on the ground and then they'll be safe. Oh, but the zone pushes them out eventually. The worst thing that could have happened to them has happened. The zone will force them down in less than 20 seconds. Even Godlike need to abandon their compound and come towards the center of the circle. And as of now, only GG Instinct have the center of the circle. The L-shaped house next to them has some room which can be occupied by Godlike, but I think they're going to be stuck in a race against Hotshot Esports to get inside that zone. Meanwhile, things get harder for Hotshot Esports as Extreme X also starts taking shots against them.
Flicker getting taken down. EXE will now have to hold on to their horses. It's not going to be easy for them to take this fight anymore. As on the other side, Hotshots, they were in the sight of GG Instant, but now slowly, since the fight is going to just keep increasing, I do believe that Godlike might also look forward to get involved in this fight. Hotshots, they're going to be taking a push against Extreme X. Now holding this position, Action puts up an ice grenade to make sure that he does a bit of a damage. EXE tried to do the same, but Tucson, he just puts it one among himself. And guess what? Nobita on the other side has put some really good grenades on Horaa. But for now, Hotshots, after losing Action, is looking forward for some action itself. But that's not going to be the case because Hotshots gets eliminated as Sejan comes in from the backside, backstab them, and what a rotation coming in from him.
Triple elimination from Sejan. Keep Extreme X alive. And with 17 eliminations, these guys have a lovely position over here in the buried bunker. The Thunderbolt zone is out. No longer is lightning falling from the skies. And Godlike Esports managed to get inside that L-shaped house next to GG Instinct. Savage from Horaa. He's just hoping that nobody looks on towards his general direction. But I think he's gonna have bigger problems. The zone being one of them. He'll be running out of medkits soon, so he might just get eliminated. And as I say his name, Nancy finds him, and he buries him 6 feet under. GG Instinct finally have to abandon their house. They force this fight against Godlike because the zone on the edge is going to force them to move anyway. Nice knock by Tiger, but Nobita with the grenade launcher in a second wipes out GG Instinct. How did that happen? That was ridiculous. GG Instinct had the entire fight going in their favor, but then Nobita just flips the switch, and within a second, the enemies are dead.
What a way to dominate that fight. Nancy lately has been phenomenal with that grenade launcher. I would rather say Nobita for now. But again, let's look at how things are turning out for Godlike, because EXE is the next team who are pouncing upon them. 19 eliminations is what Extreme X have got for themselves, and they're looking for some more. On the other side, we see that Hotshots get eliminated from the lobby, making things a bit more interesting. Nobita gets taken down. Marco flies away from this position to get to the nearest hot compound, and that means NXT will have a view on EXE.
Yeah, but EXE need to come out into the open. Oh wait, they do something better. They land right on top of Godlike Esports, forcing them to go indoors. EXE are putting up all the glue walls so that NXT can't take shots at them, but Sejan with a shotgun is chasing down Nobita to the ends of the earth. Nobita is just trying to stay alive right now. Tucson and Flicker get the confirmations onto his teammates, and Nobita, he's trapped in a corner, finally gets eliminated, and it's all up to Extreme X versus NXT. The Bangladeshi team, who needs the most points out of them all, is finally on the verge of getting a booyah that they have worked so hard for. 21 eliminations strong, and they look to add 2 more today, Kitty. Sejan is absolutely on fire today with his M590, and Extreme X get the booyah.
Sejan, the man was exceptional throughout the game. He was the demon of the lobby. Every nook and cranny he had been, made sure that he gets that 180, and probably, one of the reasons why this team is feared from their region is the reason why we see them perform so well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Extreme X, they were at somewhere around the 40-point mark after their performance yesterday, and this is going to be their last day of performance in the main event. which means they need to get 100 plus points today if they want to make it to the main event. But hey, if they already start off this day with a booyah and 23 eliminations, that puts them at 35 points in a single game. And that means they have already covered 35% of their targeted points for today. That's a wonderful achievement to have in the first game of the day itself.
Absolutely, that puts so much pressure off your shoulder, and that itself shows that this team is desperate to see the grand finals. And yes, the whole lobby will have to fear them, and I'm hoping that some or the other team will be able to, bring in a different kind of a counter strategy against them, or else they're going to be walking away with a lot of points, making it too close for the teams to qualify.
35 points for NXT. Yep, I don't think these guys will be in a position where it's too close for them to qualify. If they keep performing like this, they're gonna soar ahead of every other team so quickly. NXT Esports also giving us a good showing of what they have to offer with 25 points. Very difficult decision for them to not make a move while Extreme X were pouncing on top of Godlike, which is why they missed out on a couple of extra eliminations. But Godlike Esports also have a pretty impressive run over here. 20 points for them, especially since they were performing really well yesterday. Which means if they keep on performing like this, they should be able to get into the main event without any problems. Horaa Esports as well, despite the situation they were in, so despite the fact that they were down to their last man, they still managed to get 5 placement points out of that at the very least, putting their total up at 15. And the MVP of the game is none other than Flicker. This guy, he's already been a part of the Fire Max Asia Invitational last year when he was playing for another team. And this time he sees only red. 4,605 damage with 6 eliminations. It's incredible. Especially that now he's using Iris as well as Otto, which gives him so much information to work with. And I wouldn't even say information, this just gives him a direct ability to shoot people down behind glue walls.
Absolutely, and I do believe that, you try to rewrite how a meta can be used, and that's what Flicker is doing for now. Enhanced Hammer for his AWM. Sajan on the other side is also one of the big contributors for this big game. He's done phenomenal with that shotgun. Has got that Oscar dash Drakey, obviously, to dash in towards those weaklings to put them down. A quick reload, a Joseph and an Olivia. And Rusty on the other side is also one of those rushers who are sticking to the newer meta. But he's more of that Grenadier, right? And I'm able to see this pattern occur slowly. Grenadiers tend to get that beast in with them.
Yeah. With so much knockouts. Oh my god. Oh my. Are you seeing this on Flicker? 11 knocks. He only got 6 out of them converted. I do feel bad because this guy, he must have had quite a lot of frags either stolen away from him, or he got them in such long range situations where he just couldn't confirm them and all his knocks were then revived or respawned. But still, everybody on the team contributing really well. Tusin with 3,131 damage. You got Rusty with 2,800 something damage. It's really cool how this team keeps on getting so much damage out consistently. Especially when you look at their journey in the circuit analysis over here, you will notice that they took control of Intellect Center with an iron grip. Whether it's Total Gaming or whether it's Dewa United Horus, no matter who comes up against them, they will repel away the invaders. And then they made a safe rotation towards Mortar Ruins, after which they only moved when the circle forced them to move. Even though you had hotshots trying to contest them under that bunker area, they did not care. Sejan with that M590 dispatched the entirety of Hotshot Esports to their dead boxes, and then he secured that western bunker to himself, which gave his team so much room to work with. After which, Flicker was free to make the call so that they can, jump right on top of Godlike's heads. And the only reason why Flicker is the MVP is because he gets the freedom to him gifted by Sejan's M590.
Absolutely, and I also like that split coming in from Flicker. Every single fight, he's always stayed away from the team, given that off angle against the opponents, making sure that he does deal a bit of a damage, making it so hard for opponents to understand where this last player is. But for now, we'll be looking at the drop locations of every single team in Kalahari, and it seems like there's a huge cluster towards that refinery region, because command post and sub being taken by that of Dewa as well as Horaa. They have a great chance of coming into fourth party the fights which takes place at Refinery.
Yeah, but I'm also very concerned about the fights happening in the northeastern side of this map. Like, what is that cluster? You got GG Instinct, you got Team Akkee, as well as Hotshot Esports. Okay, I know for the fact that Hotshot love dropping towards Council Hall. We saw that in their previous tournaments as well. During the FFWS Pakistan qualifier, they were uncontested over there. But GG Instinct, they don't necessarily like Council Hall, right? We see them go all across Shines, Old Hampton, sometimes even split dropping across Bayfront. So GG Instinct loves split dropping, and they will only be there as long as it serves their interests. The moment it starts to go south for them, GG Instinct are gonna be gone like the wind. But Team Akkee, I don't know if they will continue staying over there. It is a highly contested region. Let's see if they actually end up dropping there or not.
I strongly feel like, these drop locations might be just put out there to deceive the opponents, because there's a high chance that teams would want to spread out, because even in the previous map of Nextera, we saw that there was not much skirmish in the southern side, where the drop locations did indicate that most of the teams would go towards the southern side of the map. But again, the refinery, trying to have more control over refinery for all the snipers out there, is going to be the primary objective, and let's see whether the final circle actually lands somewhere close to it.
Yeah, I want to see if the final circle goes towards the refinery as well. There's so much elevation in that region that some 8 or 9 teams can stay alive even in a circle as small as the 4th or the 5th one.
Yeah,
I think the only other place which offers as much elevation is probably like the Sub or the Mammoth, which turns entire games into like a very layered fighting game, and so many teams have to then go from cover to cover, which is super difficult in any way, even with the jump pads and everything. Plus, now with the addition of the grapple guns, the teams have to make sure that they keep eyes on routes which under normal circumstances has no way of being flanked. So yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult to go through refinery in this entire lobby. But whenever there's Kalahari, I always pick Godlike, and that's like my bad habit. I love picking up Godlike as my top pick for Kalahari games, even if it doesn't really end up working in my favor.
I completely agree. Even I incline towards Godlike, because they have that capability of getting high amount of eliminations when it comes to Kalahari. Most of it they tend to get a booyah as well, so I'm gonna place my bets on Godlike as well. But GG Instance, by the way they've played that previous game, the controlled aggression, holding on to a spot for so long, not allowing anybody to come closer, I do believe that they might look forward to carry that momentum. Akkee on the other side is going to be still the trump card of the lobby, because nobody knows how they play, and probably they can take advantage of it.
Yep, we haven't really seen Akkee perform in Kalahari in this tournament yet. In fact, we haven't seen them perform at all yet.
Exactly.
The last game we saw them was their first appearance, and even then, they didn't dig their flag too deep. They didn't plant it too deep into the soil. So let's see if they can actually have a decent enough chance in Kalahari or not. I mean, the spot where they are dropping is heavily contested. So if they win their fights in Council Hall, they're going to have a massive, multiple, at least like 15 elimination game.
Yeah.
But like if they die very early on, then this will be yet another game which gets wasted for them.
Absolutely, no game needs to go wasted for any of the teams out there, and that's one of the reasons why they look forward to get at least a good average through those eliminations. The early fights is something I'm concerned about, because there are several teams who are kind of confident, or overconfident rather, with their 4v4 battles. They're not going for a 1v3 split, and this is something I'm not able to understand, especially these South Asian teams who are trying to come in and compete in this level. Nonetheless, the Indian teams are also doing phenomenal. Even today, they have a good average going forward. If I have to ask you, which team do you think is impressing you the most, especially from the Indian circuit?
Oh, was that question directed towards me, or was that directed towards the audience? Because I would say that the team that's impressed me so far, at least from the Indian circuit, has been NXT. They've been kind of consistent, and I would love to see more from them. But our lovely audience members, please do drop in your recommendations and your predictions in the chat as well. But for now, it's time to jump into Kalahari, ladies and gentlemen. The heat is high, and so is the pressure over here. Let's see who performs their best in the deserty dunes of Kalahari.
Kalahari it is, where the temperature is just gonna rise a bit more in the deserty island, and the flight path also seem like, you know, it's gonna give away a lot, because it's dissecting the map into two equal halves perfectly, starting all the way from sub, ending towards the council hall region. Every single team can go to their respective drop locations, but guess what? For some early skirmish is what teams like Total Gaming will look out to. But it's also good to see that now they're heading towards that Santa Catarina region.
Ooh. Early fight for Extreme X once again. These guys never shy away from a drop clash. And this time it's against Lakar EWG. It's such a contrasting affair where both these teams are in desperate need of points, but Extreme X, by winning the previous Booyah, already have elevated some pressure off of their shoulders. Fuzan sprays down Sejan. In my opinion, he should have been the MVP of the previous game instead of Flicker. But Rusty, he also gets taken down by Fuzan. No way they're losing all these battles. They managed to get Zejan back because of the vending machine, but both these teams are desperately fighting for control over that spot. Tusin gets peeked by 3 players at once, sprays down Rapal as he falls down to the ground, and he re-engages against Fuzan by lurking around that glue wall. Unfortunately, cannot get the confirmation before he gets finished off, and Rapal and Anaz will be able to recover their losses. They rest their teammates, and Lakar EWG is not out yet. Neither is Extreme X, but they relinquish this area. They do not control the maze anymore.
EWG, what a good start for them. Whereas on the other side, Straw Hats are not having such a great run. Look at the third player. The third player also gets taken down. It all comes down to Hotshot as they immediately want to come into this vicinity. Not only get those confirmations, but also they want to make sure that they end the deed for the opponent. Hotshot trying to do their best. They're going to be limping around, making sure they jump around as well. They get eventually punished. Another player coming closer. It's got to be Stroy, who's doing really well.
Straw Hats are actually holding their ground really well in Foundation. And they better keep doing so, because very soon there will be teams from the Confinement Hall and the Confinement and the Council Hall regions coming down to Foundation, hoping to get either the reses back on their teammates or just via rotating through this area. They will end up clashing against Straw Hats. Meanwhile, on the elimination feed, you can see that Extreme X are in a lot of trouble, because now even Straw Hats have one player, Neil, who's shooting down the members of Extreme X. Even Godlike took a couple of shots onto Extreme X. So Extreme X right now are losing their players to multiple teams. But luckily, Neil, he was only able to go far enough to get one elimination. Unfortunately, strays into the crosshairs of Godlike as well. So Neil loses his life. And that should put the rest of Hotshot Esports in a slightly more balanced position, where they will tone it down, they will curtail the aggression and somehow bring it back. But Leo Pio, he could have been in so much danger right now with Lakar EWG chasing him. Luckily, they go back, they go away, they leave him alone.
Because they came behind Straw Hats, and the blessing in disguise for Hotshots rather was the other team. But for now, what a beautiful shot being landed out there. It's Yogi who gets taken down. Godlike are not having such a great aim out here. Nobita is going to be the second one getting taken down. But again, EWG, they need to hold on to their horses, because they're trying to challenge the gods who have gone in for a revival. And now they're expecting the teams to come in. This could be a fight where Godlike would be interested to take.
Oh my god, Nancy tries to use the fancy grapple maneuvers but ends up losing his life. Marco also gets sprayed down by Rapal with that Bison. EWG are doing really well for themselves, but careful. Straw Hats are on the horizon. Luckily, it's just a knock that cannot be converted. Cyber gets rezzed instantly. But this actually gives Nobita a chance to escape. GG Instinct have also arrived on scene. They are trying to just send one of their players on a reconnaissance mission, Swaroop, so that he can do as much damage as possible and gather information. And even if he doesn't manage to do that, he distracts EWG long enough to let Nobita escape. At the moment I say that, they focus on him again. And he's the last bastion for his team. No, Godlike, they lose Nobita as well. But luckily, it's not the end of the day for them. His teammates have been red, so yeah. 3 members still alive for Godlike. But somehow, Total Gaming get eliminated very early on. We need to see what happened over there, so hopefully there will be a replay as well. But while there's no replay, we are looking at Lakar EWG farming up eliminations left, right and center. 11 eliminations in the first circle itself. I don't think we've seen such an impressive performance from them during the entire tournament.
Absolutely, and the way they're playing this is pretty impressive. Ohio was showing his back and he gets backstabbed as Fuzan is able to put him down and get an elimination for himself. And guess what? That makes it 5 eliminations for this lad and a total of 12. You spoke about the team being aggressive, but I'm getting impressed by this team for now. Dewa on the other side is now looking for a fight against Horaa as Savage gets taken down. Horaa, they're gonna be, oh my god, it's Savage on the other side who's taking down the opponents. He's doing a really good job going in for just jump shots, but Zack will be able to put him down and gets a breather as it brings up Adrian, who got 7 eliminations as Adrian has got 4.
Dewa United Horus trying to make up for what they lost in the previous game. Meanwhile, Godlike Esports, after having quite a lot of adventure, roaming around Refinery, going to its foundation and fighting off even EXE for that matter. These guys have done well for themselves, but every time I seem to take their name, they lose a member. Fix sprays down one player from a very long distance. Yogi, as soon as he gets picked back up, NG Ohio has an angle onto him now. Akkee have so many angles onto Godlike Esports, they are low-key surrounded. Even Marco gets sniped off by Fawarak and his AWM. Oh no, they get eliminated entirely. It's insane how fast Godlike Esports got wiped, even after performing so well in the previous game.
Godlike ruthlessly punished, and Akkee, even they have started to turn out to be the demons of the lobby. He's got a Pandora. Trying to run away from this position, and at the same time taking a fight against EWG at that close range. It's gonna be Hamim in deep trouble. He also gets taken down. Pandora's knocked out player Otong, he's up there and he's having a bird's eye view, giving so much information. There's another player trying to fire away. Fuzan is in the air, he gets taken down. It's gonna be Kisan who puts him down, but the revival, I don't think so, is gonna be coming through. But Pandora, they're going to be happy with whatever they've raked up so far.
Pandora with 6 eliminations, nothing to scoff at, man. They haven't even gone out there trying to pick up as many fights as much as, you know, someone like, if I'm not wrong, Team Akkee is doing right now. These guys have been farming eliminations left, right and center. Pandora, they haven't really explored that much yet because they've been rotating nice and slowly. But I'm sure that when they go in towards that final circle, they will have a lot of advantage. Hotshot Esports landing right next to NXT. Both these teams were trying to go towards Mammoth so that they can take a southern rotation into the circle instead of going around the edges, which I'm guessing a lot of other teams will also be doing. Take a look at the northern side of the map. There's so many teams who have yet to make their way in there. Lakar EWG towards Shrines might just fight against Horaa Esports. Even Hotshots have one player from their team present in that area to just screw around the other teams and hopefully try to steal some eliminations away.
Let's see whether that happens, but for now, we see that Godlike out of the equation gives so much of an opportunity for Horaa to put up points on the table. Nonetheless, NXT, even they've been doing a phenomenal job. They come in to take another fight. Luckily, they do not find anybody. Yes, there's one lurking snake over here, and I don't think so he's going to be staying alive for a long time as Rapal gets taken down at Sabo. Yet again, showcasing some really good close range powers. They got 3 eliminations for himself and a total of 5 for NXT.
Yeah, NXT slowly and steadily climbing. They've got the maze under their control now. UAV sent north. They know that a lot of these teams will love to rotate in via the edges of the zone, so that's why they are also holding the zone edge. Plus, this area also happens to have a vending machine, which they're guessing a lot of teams will require, considering their situations. So yeah, definitely Pandora Stars will be needing one or the other vending machine because they've lost 3 of their members. Meanwhile, Hotshot Esports are taking out Lakar EWG. And that is quite a lot of advantage that Hotshot Esports will garner. Luckily, Lakar EWG also have a vending machine right next to them, so they should be fine. But Otang, hello? He just takes out Anaz as if Anaz had no idea what was going on. Completely catches him off guard. And with that elimination, he secures a little more tokens so that he can get the res onto his teammates. He can at least get one of them.
You have to give it to Otang. He was the last man standing. And I've always seen that players try to shy away from fights, but once he understood that there's a solo player He puts him down, eventually gets one revival through, and now is looking forward to get to the nearest place where he can get some more coins for himself. Towards the refinery comes in another cluster, and the circle is just going to betray the rest of them and head towards the western side of the map, making things so much more interesting.
Yeah, let's see how these teams get inside there. Whoops! Who gets surprised by Reset literally jumping into his little corner? He thought that was his no-no square. He thought he was safe over there. But Akkee need to be wary of Extreme X right on top of them. They were right to third party. But luckily, this isn't really a third party anymore. Akkee have reset all their health loss. They are ready to fight again. And it's going to be a proper 4v4 over here. But Extreme X have quite a lot of spread. You got Sajan holding the head glitch angle. Flicker abandoning the sniper post and getting inside over here, even though he loses most of his HP. Tusin gets back up on the high ground alongside Sejan to take down NJ Ohio quickly. But look at Reset. He's going to be the spearhead for his team as he inches closer and closer.
See, John, they need to watch out for this lad. He's been so strong in those close range battles, and look at what Reset does. He puts up a glue wall mentor and he does the right thing. He sees Flicker at a distance. Now he knows targeting Flicker is going to eventually put a lot of trouble on EXE. But guess what? Reset is going to be caught off guard. Fix comes in closer with that grenade launcher, will eventually knock himself out, making things so much easier for EXE to dominate this fight. One more player gets taken down, and the last man standing is going to be Ohio, who's running away, showing his back. And Sejan has got that Winchester. He's trying to do his best to take down a player. If they let him breathe a bit longer, probably he's going to revive the rest of his teammates.
Yeah, but where will he go? There's very little vending machines left in this small circle. Takes the jump pad, but still, the vending machine towards the big warehouse is going to be watched by the teams in the refinery. Oh wait, it's just Lakar EWG. And they're not actually looking towards the warehouse. NJ Ohio has enough money to get one player in. Maybe he could have done two if he just gets 100 more tokens, but I think that shouldn't be very hard to acquire. Meanwhile, NXT, you got Wildfox trying to get the res onto Ash. And while Ash has been brought back online, Wildfox jukes them around. He breaks Adrian's ankles. And Zax finally puts Wildfox down. He should be able to get the res onto Adrian, but that was pretty impressive.
Impressive is the numbers from Dewa. 14 eliminations is what they've got, and Adrian has got the adrenaline running down his veins. Look at that, he's got 7 eliminations already. You spoke about Spearhead for another team, and it seems like he's the one for this team. Otang gets taken down, and Horaa is also building up some eliminations, and it's good to see that all the other Asian teams are now picking up the pace.
No, picking up the pace is Pandora Esports. Very, very aggressively fighting against Akkee. But it's Horaa that comes in and gets the confirmation for both those fallen players of the two different teams. So yeah, that's what happens when you don't finish off your knocks, ladies and gentlemen. They can get stolen. Oh my lord! Theo gets sniped mid-air by Savage. He's actually being Savage right now. He's living up to his name. All they have to do is find Putra. And I think they have an idea of where he could be. They check the angle. Niruplasi sent so that Savage can't put up any glue walls. But Putra, even after using the inhaler, doesn't stand a chance against Savage. And that's the end of Pandora Stars.
Pandora Stars have done such a good job yesterday. But today it seems like, the momentum is not able to be caught. To the very center of the circle, we see that there are several teams who are just waiting for the final circle, to close in towards them. Extreme Extreme X is now eliminated from this lobby, and that means Horaa is going to be that only team who have got an opportunity to put some more points on the table and make sure they climb up the ladder. Dewa versus Horaa is what we can witness, or Dewa versus Hotshots is what we're witnessing on our screens right now. As Dewa are trying to do their best, they put on 2 players of Hotshots, and suddenly they are singing the songs of death.
Dewa United Horus, 22 eliminations strong, control the eastern sector of the circle. And now that they've cleared out these little permanent cover buildings of the maze, they know that the rest of the teams will be scrambling for cover. They've got Fix pinned down, and the moment that glue wall breaks, Sticky eliminates him. Fix goes down, and Dewa United Esports get their 23rd eliminations. Savage also discovered by Lakar EWG, forced to dash ahead and join his teammates, but Reset gets taken down by Hotshot Esports. And even though Hotshot take that knock, it's Akkee that steals the elimination. Oh, poor Anaz, despite his best efforts, will have his elimination stolen. And the only way to avenge himself is to eliminate the player who stole that from him. He takes the elimination onto Reset, and now he's got angles onto Ohio as well. But yeah, even the rest of Dewa United Esports are looking at NJ Ohio. So I hope that Anaz doesn't reveal his position by taking shots that don't necessarily get him the points.
23 eliminations and they're looking for some more, and look at how aggressive they're being. And there is Anaz who's running out in the open. I don't understand how they were just let him breathe for that long. Atrium on the other side has got 9 eliminations and is looking for some more. And Horaa on the other side is also doing phenomenal with their snipers. Hami gets taken down. It's got to be Savage at a distance who's stealing away so many eliminations. And Horaa needs to watch out because Dewa were watching all of this take place. I've now got so much information that they can take down Horaa easily.
Yeah, but Horaa Esports do not get taken out at all. It's Lakar EWG who lose their lives. Even NXT can't hold on for much longer. Akkee with just their last player alive, and even Anaz representing the last of the Pakistani team have to just hold their ground. It's a 1v1v3v4. And even though Horaa Esports seem to be pressuring NJ Ohio quite a lot, it's Dewa United who are moving in to swoop that steal elimination away from them. Savage takes a lovely shot with that M590. Adrian eliminates Hotshot Esports, and now it's a proper 3v4. Horaa Esports have the numbers advantage. Stops gets the knock onto North with that Bison, and Spurs, he's gonna jump down straight between Zax and Stops. They get the eliminations. Horaa Esports dominate the battlefield. They have absolutely no disadvantage while going up against Dewa United Horus.
What a phenomenal game coming in from the side of Horaa, but let's not forget that they were at such amount of eliminations that they'll be able to, in one way or the other, top the charts. Look at them, 23 or 25 eliminations, but I know that Horaa have done a phenomenal job. They also got some placement points as well. They show off. The Nepali flag, I mean, they're proud about it, right?
I hope so. I certainly hope they're proud of themselves, because Horaa Esports seem to be celebrating quite well. And yeah, I must say that I was not surprised when they won that. They had all the advantage they needed. Permanent cover, check. Eliminating the individual stragglers, also check. Yeah, Dewa United, they had the high ground and they have 25 eliminations, so it's still a very impressive game from them. But because they only had 3 members, they got overwhelmed by Horaa Esports pretty quickly. Regardless, they should be proud of themselves because this was a high-scoring game for both of these teams.
Horaa, impressive. I'm starting to understand what Horaa wants to do in this lobby. They take their time. They want to prioritize the center of the circle. There was an opportunity for Dewa to strike upon them because there was a fight which was taking place between Horaa and the rest of the squads. They could have just used the snipers to put on 1 or 2 players and build that pressure. But ultimately, it's Dewa who stands atop of everybody else. 34 points with Not Booyah on their side is a statement for sure. Horaa Esports on the other side have got 28 in total. And this is going to bring a drastic change in the overall standing.
This is definitely going to shake up the overall standings. 34 points is no joke. Even Horaa Esports, despite all the control that they asserted over that final circle, despite the difficult situation they put Dewa United Horus in, they could only come up with 16 eliminations for all of their efforts. I feel like they were not proportionally rewarded for their gameplay over here. But Lakar EWG finally stepping up when it matters the most. 15 eliminations from them is certainly impressive, especially when they were the lowest scoring team from yesterday. So 21 points is going to be massive. This will nearly double their overall standing points. Team Akkee, consistent as ever, getting 19 points here. Even in the previous game, they had a decent run, so I think they are well on track to get 100 plus eliminations. 100 plus points by the end of the day. Hotshot Esports also maintaining a good average, 15 in this game as well. And considering what they did in the previous game, they should be in a nice spot. Let's take a look at the overall standings now, though, because Horaa seem to be leading by quite the margin.
Absolutely. 122 points with 73 eliminations, and they played 8 of their games. And let me remind you, those teams who are on our screens right now who have completed 8 games are left out with 4 more to put points on the table, as they're going to be leaving the benchmark for the rest. And 12 teams from here is going to move forward into the grand finals. So that makes things so much more interesting. Total Gaming, after 2 games played, at the very bottom of the table with just 9 points. It's kind of concerning if you ask me. But at the same time, we have also got teams who are doing really well, like Dewa, who've got 37 in the 2 games played.
Yeah, it's such a stark contrast between iQOO Total Gaming as well as Dewa United Horus. With just 2 games played, they've already overtaken some teams who have quite a high amount of expectations. NXT Esports also doing really well for themselves. 35 points, they're doing pretty nicely. Straw Hats with 28 points in just 2 games is also very impressive. Same goes for Team Akkee and Hotshot Esports. So yeah, out of all the teams that we have seen today, out of all the teams from Group C, I think the only team that hasn't impressed us so far is going to be iQOO Total Gaming. Everybody else is doing really well for themselves. And someone who's doing extremely well is going to be Savage from Horaa. Because look at that damage number. 3,278 damage with 6 eliminations makes him the MVP of the game.
Absolutely, an Oscar with a Drakey to make sure he pounces on the weaklings. Whereas on the other side, he's got J-Beebs, Nikita and Joseph. A typical frontline assaulter combination with the active and the passives. He's got the team booster just in case. And I wonder how his teammates have been supported him, because this combination also shows that he's got some good supporters in his team.
Whew. Well, take a look at the rest of this team's composition and you will instantly notice that they have such a massive anti-cover lineup going for themselves. You got Stops with the Nero as well as the Moko Joseph Nikita. And he's got just the Piston. He doesn't have Alvaro. So he got the grenade range, but he doesn't have the firepower in the grenades, which is okay because that Moko Nero kind of means that he's going to be using the snipers more than anything. Then you've got Buru as your typical sniper loadout with the Skylar, Moko, Maro, Rafael. You've also got Sparsis with the Steffi. Yeah. Now that is something we don't see very often. Most teams prefer to have the Chrono, but even when you don't have a Chrono and you don't have any other healing active abilities like Cassie or maybe even the Alok, we've seen plenty of that as well over here. You've got Steffi, so anti-nade loadout for these guys is going pretty well for them. And everybody has more than 2,000 damage, which means everybody contributed equally. Of course, Savage being a touch higher than everybody else with 3,000 damage.
He's been the spearhead for the team, as you already spoke, right? He's done a phenomenal job so far. And now I understood how come Dewa was not able to put them down. It's that Steffi's Graffiti's blessing, which kind of evaded all those troubles. But looking at the circle analysis, I would love to see how many fights took place in the third circle. Because it seems like, you know, there was no rest whatsoever throughout the game. With Refinery kind of empty, we saw that it was open for all the teams out there, and most of the teams took that rotation from Refinery itself to make it inside the circle. Nonetheless, the last team to make it inside were the team who got that high ground advantage, EWG, who were holding that spot for a really long time. But Deva's rotation was also phenomenal as they come in from the western side of the map.
Yeah, Deva's rotation was pretty cool considering that they were fighting all throughout. While there's a lot of teams who tend to avoid the fights while rotating, Dewa United Horus were just farming eliminations, man. 7 eliminations in the first circle. Surprisingly, nothing in the second, but then your third and fourth circles gave them 6 and 7 eliminations respectively. So that is very impressive. Even in the fifth circle, up until their dying embers, they were still fighting everybody that they could see. Similarly, you also have a lot of other teams who tried to have a lot of firepower, but they were only met with early demises. So let's hope that they don't commit the same mistake going into the next map, because this game of Purgatory is going to be very, very stacked. And for some reason, a lot of these teams say that they love dropping towards that western island. I don't believe that to be true. I know that Godlike in NXT will probably go there, but will GG Instinct stay near Mount Villa, or will they quickly rotate towards Central after dropping over there? I am yet to see that.
Now, as I said, you know, all of these drop locations seems to be like deception, so that teams will not try to come into that crowded region. But his Brazilian campsite completely empty is not something I'm going to buy right now. Crossroads, Moat House, all of these places still open for grabs. Ski Lodge finally is being taken by that of Straw Hats, who have done a pretty good decision going there, because not many teams have selected to go towards that ski lot region, especially in the map of Purgatory.
Well, let's see what happens in Purgatory, because I for one, do not believe that Brasilia is empty. Like, how do you seriously expect me to believe that the central, most popular city in the map is empty? Nah, I don't buy it. I just don't believe it. Similarly, Crossroads being empty. Huh? How did that happen? I thought that sometimes Total Gaming like going over there. I know that Godlike love going towards Crossroads.
Exactly.
How is that like changed? What happened? Like just a couple of weeks ago in the Free Fire Max India Cup, we saw so many teams fight for control over the Crossroads region of Purgatory, and now you're telling me it's uncontested? Not happening. Don't just take it with a pinch of salt, take it with a heavy scoop of salt.
Absolutely. And again, at the same time, we are able to see that the circles is kind of shifting away from the center itself. So that could be one of the reasons why teams are choosing to go to a different drop location altogether. But we all know, right, the Indian teams have that 1v3 split mindset where one of the players tend to stay away from the rest of them. So hopefully we'll be able to see a different kind of an approach from the rest of the lobby as well. But for now, let's look at our prediction. It's time for you guys to leave your predictions in the chat as well to let us know which team do you think is going to walk away with a booyah in the upcoming map of Purgatory. I'm going to with Pandora as well as Horaa, because these are the teams who are slowly picking up the pace. I'm still placing my bets on Total Gaming for one last time, because these wounded lions can come back any given point of time.
Yeah, I mean, they are wounded. They've only got like 9 points to their name. So yeah, a wounded tiger fights back harder, unless they don't succumb to their injuries first.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a risky pick you got there. I respect that. I've gone for rather safe picks over here. I've picked up NXT because I feel like they are one of the India's strongest teams when it comes to Purgatory. The only team stronger than them is probably GG Instinct, but I don't want to pick them just because I've picked them in the previous maps as well, so I'm going to give NXT a chance. Then I've picked up Hotshots because even though I don't fully believe in their firepower, I think that their survivability is through the roof. And these guys did a really impressive job getting into the top 4 teams in Kalahari even after losing their players very early on. So how Anaz managed to survive over there, I kind of feel like if he does something similar in Purgatory, Hotshot will at least be in the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe that, Hotshot is one of those teams who always keep that balance between the placement points as well as the elimination points. And for that very reason, in one game when they go bonkers to pick up a very big amount of eliminations, they can still compensate and have a good spot in the overall standing. Nonetheless, I'm kind of getting impressed with that of Extreme EX, because yesterday they had a beating of their life. Every single team out there, they couldn't convert those 4v4s, and suddenly today we see them perform so well. They've got 31 eliminations in the 3 maps played. Shows that they are capable of something more.
Oh yeah, I hope that they are able to show us even more, because for a lot of the Group B teams, this is going to be their last day of the main event. They need to get inside that safe zone, and when I say safe zone, they need to get inside the 150 to 170 point marker. That is something that we consider safe for the time being. That number might change, so put your best foot forward and prepare yourself for the halfway mark of the day, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to start with the 3rd game of the 2nd day of Free Fire Max Asia Invitational main event. Put your hands together for Purgatory!
Oh, this is gonna be a map where everything changes, the momentum changes altogether. It's not that heavy action map, and that means those teams who are at the bottom of the table looking for a reset will have a greater chance. Look at the flight path as well, starting all the way from Central, heading towards the Moat House region. And those expectations of seeing some early skirmish, it's gonna be GG Instincts, the only team who's not gonna let us lose.
Oh. See? What did I say? Really telling me Brasilia is not going to be contested very early on? Of course it's contested. 2 teams are landing over there. Meanwhile, in Mount Villa, you've got GG Instinct fighting against Extreme X before they even get the chance to pick up their guns. They're just going ham at each other with their Uzis. They use the time turner to get those eliminations, get the res onto Sejan mid-fight, and within a matter of seconds, GG Instinct have been wiped out. I mean, I was considering picking them as my top pick, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I gave my vote to NXT instead.
I'm still in shock, to be frank. I never expected that GG Instinct will do such a decision of going 4v4 in the open fields. Nonetheless, Now we're going to be looking at hotshots who are chasing down players, or rather being shot at from different directions from that of Horaa. Stubbs gets taken down and a trade comes through. Savage is looking out for more players to come out in the open. He's got that cover behind the tree, but will that be enough? It seems like no is the answer as he gets taken down. It's going to be Adrian who finds him with that ACAT.
Oh. He's surely been discovered over here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, now Action must have seen him. Oh, never mind. Even though he spots him, Action doesn't get to take any action against Sparsis. Should be able to get to the vending machine as well. Nice and easy. And that elimination should get him enough points. No, it doesn't actually. Yeah, I guess
but
he can
his
go for the
teammates
basic
had.
res. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't even need to get them into the vending machine. You know? Just stay alive for a couple of minutes and you should be fine.
EWG is going to be the second team to get eliminated from this lobby, but guess what? Akkee are still looking for some fights, are still converting those fights in their way. The start seems to be fine for that of Akkee, but as they go deep into the circles, as they go into the third or the fourth circle, that is when they start to get casualties, and due to which they're unable to recover and eventually get taken down. But for now, we see that Ohio, he goes health for now. He's going to move away from that position, but you spoke about a player. It seems like he's going to continue taking down players, and in one way or the other, the survival is still the key.
No, Pita. Can he escape? Takes to the skies. Does he get shot down? Yes, he does. Of course he does. Now it's up to Marco and Nancy to carry out the rest of Godlike's hopes and dreams. Oh no, even Nancy gets taken off. That vehicle really not serving his best interests. Marco tries to escape. Not happening. Even Godlike are out very early on.
Extreme EX, my goodness, look at the way they're dominating this lobby. Shanky did not expect a vehicle to be, run over. Nonetheless, we see a fight take place where Total Gaming are having a bit of an advantage out here. Shanky comes in closer to Zach, but immediately turns around to get closer to Hashtag, due to which he gets taken down. Total Gaming Mafia, he comes in closer. There's a double takedown which is going to be registered by that of Zach, but the man advantage is still in favor of Total Gaming.
Oh, but they were united. Can they recover from this one? They see Mafia trying to go for a flank and they take the pot shots at him. But no, Mafia can't get in cover quickly enough. Even though Kiki is down, it still brings it back to a 3v3. Adrian trying to shoot down the opponent in a vehicle. But delete! He ends up overcommitting to this one. He gets sprayed down by North and is scored. Oh my lord. Total Gaming, what have you done? They use the knucklers. They figure out where Aztec is. Somehow that monster gets stuck on the way up, but that's not a problem because Kiki can still chase down the last member. But at least Aztec is able to res 2 players before he finally bites the dust. Oh, pre-grenade. Nah, that doesn't really do much. Somehow North ends up getting knocked after they've already taken down Aztec. So yeah, that's some posthumous knockdown that we see over there. But it doesn't net Total Gaming any points, so rather useless.
But a good fight before getting taken down, right? He did try to do his best to get at least 1 eliminations. But look at what's happening here. NXT are literally decimating anybody who come close to them. Yet again, they have 6 early eliminations at Brasilia. And it seems like they do not want to let go of this spot for now. Be rewarded with a drop as well, making it a bit more stronger when it comes to their firepower. Let's not forget NXT. They're one of those teams who have got around 21 eliminations so far. They're trying to maintain the top 3 spot, but that's not going to be easy as Akkee has flown over here. We see that more players are trying to come in from the skies. But ultimately, it was just one player out there and they got that elimination.
Aztec brings them back again, but I'm kind of concerned about Total Gaming now because this will kind of put them in a perpetual loop of dying, rezzing again and again. Biggs gets out of his car, literally yeeting that big chunk of metal at his opponent. It was either him dying to the vehicle or NJ Ohio sniping them off first. Yeah, at this point, the members of Akkee are just bullying iQOO Total Gaming. running around everywhere and getting the eliminations onto them in every single corner of the map. Do they have another binoculars available? Because they will probably use it to hunt down the last members of iQOO Total Gaming. Meanwhile, back in Brasilia, look at this one. This is a pretty interesting fight.
The two big bulls locking horns. I'm sorry, EXE are trying to do their best. Flicker is going to be the last man standing, and for the first time, we see that Extreme X is kind of in a very peculiar situation. They might be on the verge of elimination. NXT, they're flying around to make sure they have a angle against him as he drives away through those bridges. And look at that Ash. He's going to be flying in to get those headshots. Flicker in deep trouble. Shots not connecting. And he's going to be breathing for a long time now.
Oh, I can't say the same about Fix. While Akkee have been having a wonderful time sniping down the individual members of Total Gaming, Dewa United do not offer them any individual gunfights. They hunt as a pack, as a unit. And Fix gets taken down by Adrian while he tries to go for the vending machine again. Dewa United now have to make sure that they do not let the rest of Akkee Esports escape. They're at the recall tower. They want to take down Reset quickly. Can he get the reset before anyone else gets close? He takes the knock onto Kiki. Gets the confirmation as well. Surprisingly, North misses all the shots with his cord. He runs around to the other side, but there's Adrian ready to welcome him. Yeah, there's only so much juking you can do around a single sniper tower. If this was Brasilia, you probably would have had a lovely time. All the movement enthusiasts of Free Fire Max love Brasilia because you can juke your opponents like that. But out here in the open, you can't run around too much. Dewa United, 11 eliminations strong. And it seems like they're going for a massive 20 elimination game yet again.
Absolutely, and that's phenomenal if you ask me. Once they understood that they can incline more towards being aggressive in a lobby like this, try to strike fear in the hearts of the opponents, they're taking a huge advantage of this strategy. And I believe that they'll look forward for more fights, and look at how Akkee are spread out in this lobby. Each and every player looking for some fights. Fix especially is going to be heading towards the nearest vending machine at Ski Lodge to revive few of his teammates. But Ohio is right now at a very wrong position. Dewa, they're going to be finding him anytime soon, but Hotshot action gets taken down, and it's got to be EXE yet again finding out more players to get taken down.
Extreme EX having a surprisingly good time in this game. They tried to revive the aggressive side of their team in the previous map as well, but unfortunately they weren't rewarded with such a good game. But regardless, you can't criticize them much because Extreme X have been rather consistent all game. And now that they've got the time and the leisure to loot up, get all the weapons, max them out with the arsenals, I think they should be set for the end game. I can't say the same for Total Gaming because they have just been running around all game trying to get the reses onto their teammates with the several vending machines. So yeah, you can see that they're lacking grenades. They've only got like level 2 armor. They don't have everything top notch, not ready for the end game areas. But then I can say that for a lot of teams who are still roaming around the extremities of the map. Take a look at Hotshot Esports. How far apart are they from each other? Anas, Leopeo, Hasuex, Action, all of them on little different islands. Total Gaming trying to make that crossing in a single car on the bridge. I never like the idea of having your entire team in a single vehicle. That's why Delete and Chunky being in a different car, it's actually desirable. They managed to make it into the compound. They should be safe. And that is Total Gaming getting to a 9.
They're getting to a really good spot if you ask me. But at the same time, they also need to watch out because the team closest to them right now is going to be Extreme EX, who are coming in closer and closer. And since they've got that information that Total Gaming might be somewhere close by, they eventually fall back. A clever move if you ask me, because they are trying to take that fight in the open. But you know, it's the map of Purgatory, right? No matter how close you are, you're still far away. And that becomes a great advantage. And this has been understood by only few players. And that's one of the reasons why we see that Dewa as well as that of Akkee are the few teams who are looking for those fights. Total Gaming on the other side immediately activates the time turner to evade those bullets being connected. Gets to the center of the map, and now they have a lot of compounds to work with. All they have to do is wait for the right time, and then they strike.
Shanky fired a lovely little spot towards the center of the circle. That's great. And as the center of the circle draws closer and closer towards Brasilia, a lot of these teams are going to go real estate shopping soon. NXT are acquiring 3 houses, one held by each individual player. But then you had Straw Hats on the top of the hill hoping to take pot shots onto the teams below. They will be sniped from afar as Team Akkee leave one of their players in the distance, while Reset, up close and personal, uses the Swag 7 to get those eliminations. Who has to abandon his fallen teammates and run to the city instead of running for the hills? The monster truck almost down. He has to jump out of the vehicle. Meanwhile, Akkee, they don't mind using an almost destroyed vehicle to chase their opponents that they know can't take pot shots at them. Varak already down there. He's waiting for the rest of his teammates to arrive. Straw Hats take their spots away from the southern compounds and move towards the center of Brasilia. Ekstrom even manages to land a knock onto a team which isn't even messing with him. But again, he can't confirm that elimination. Now he has to hold his ground against Akkee. As the last member of Straw Hats, he needs to survive this one, hoping that some other team will come in and distract them. But that's not gonna happen. The Straw Hats are out.
Okay, late rotation seems to be a bit of a problem for them for now. Reset is going to be that player with that treatment gun, is trying to, do as much as possible. They see a vending machine not far away, or rather a recall tower, and I don't think so they can recall anymore if I'm not wrong. Nonetheless, we see that Horaa, they see some UAVs in the air and they want to destroy it first, not give away their location. And even Horaa has got a really good compound, if you ask me. Yes, it's just outside of the circle, but they can take their own sweet time to traverse through that, not being shot at, and they can easily make it inside the circle.
Oh, NXT, you better get indoors. They have 2 of their players on this slanted roof, but their third player is very far away, not even inside the circle. The zone shifts harder towards the south side, which means all the teams on the northern side of Brasilia will have to use that road, which is already very dangerous, and cross it somehow. I'm guessing walking down the road or just crossing it is basically asking to be shot at. This is not like a regular street. You can't just look left and right for traffic and then cross. You have to use the launch pads. Oh my god, EXE getting rushed by Dewa United, but they get the confirmation onto Adrian. No, wait! EXE get the knock, but Pandora Stars steal that elimination away. And right now, Dewa, they get the elimination onto Flicker. Oh no, even Hotshots are taking shots at Dewa United Esports. Kiki is down. Zaxxon North realize that they cannot just go knocking into the doors of EXE. They need to find the safer pathing into the zone. They should be fine behind this fence, Nobody can take shots at them. Anaz gets the confirmation onto Kiki. They can use the glue wall melters and the nades to pressure Extreme X even more, but they cannot afford to go towards the left side of that fence. If they do, then Pandora Stars will be able to shoot them as well. And that is just heat that they cannot handle. They have to go for the jump shots. They try to land them, but at this point, Sejan and his wonderful shotgun mastery is proving why Extreme X is a force to be reckoned with.
Extreme X needs to be careful. North is trying to toss more grenades. It's going to be Akkee who gets eliminated far away. And suddenly we are able to see that Total Gaming is also starting to pick up some pace. North trying to get in closer, suddenly realizes that EXE have now fallen back from that location as the circle is kind of shifted away from them. This could be a position from where they'll have to look forward to get to the center of the circle. North on the other side is moving around, trying to pick up some grenades if possible. Horaa Esports also gets eliminated, and that means this could be a different team walking away with the booyah.
Yeah, this is a very, very cruel circle. First, it shifts you towards the urban compounds of Brasilia, and now look at that central shift where there's not a single house in the zone. You only have a couple of trees and rocks to use as cover. So all these teams will need to get their fights done in the urban compounds while they can still stay inside the houses, while they can still stay inside something that is made of brick and mortar. Because if they don't, they will be forced to fight out in the open, and you better not have used your glue UAVs already, otherwise you will be punished so hard. Total Gaming going outside the zone to make that safer rotation, hoping to get the backstab onto Hotshots, but they only need to find Anaz, who's just hiding and biding his time. Anaz walks straight into Shanky's crosshairs, gets the confirmation, and while all of this is happening, Mafia finds Hemu. That means that EXE will now have to only fight against Dewa United. NXT are out of the equation. This gives EXE so much more room to work with because Total Gaming made their job easier. Total Gaming now have a tiny fence for their own self. which they can use as hard cover. And even Pandora Stars enjoy a little bit of cover. So these two teams are safe. But for Hotshots and for Team Extreme X, the trouble is on. And it's in full swing. The nade from Putra takes down Sajan. Revive going through from Rusty, but because there's no Dewa, this revive will be extremely slow. And now they use the grenade launchers to pepper them yet again, Arka.
Oh, it's not gonna be easy. EXE is buying all the time in the world possible. Hotshots on the other side, they're being peppered down. And amongst all of this, a bolt maker comes in from teams to make sure they put more and more pressure over the opponent's shoulder.
My God.
Look at that Sajan. He's still able to bring his teammates back into this game, and that could be a big game changer as EXE are trying to do their best. It's gonna be Pandora who are sticking towards the zone to walk away from that fight. But Total Gaming have got all 4 players, and they're slowly inching towards that booyah.
Yeah, but regardless of their best efforts, despite their efforts to get the res onto their teammates using the charged airdrop, they cannot hold on. It's now Total Gaming versus Extreme X versus Pandoras, but Delete and Putra work together to get Extreme X out of this lobby. 4v4, Total Gaming versus Pandora Stars is gonna be India versus Indonesia. Aztec takes a flank angle onto the garage house alongside Delete, so it's a 2-2 spread for Total Gaming now, while Shanky, the spearhead of the team, continues to surge forth. He stays outside, Delete lands the shot onto Kisans, and that's a great elimination confirmed. And even though Aztec gets knocked, the res is possible. Now it's a 2v2, Delete has to hold his ground, otherwise Tio will be able to get multiple eliminations. And the longer you give Tio, the longer you will give a chance for Pandora Stars to come back. Mafia gets the res onto Delete, and Delete uses his second life to pump his opponent's gut full of lead. iQOO Total Gaming win against one of Indonesia's finest, and they take their booyah.
Speak about comebacks, and there's a team which is showing you how to do it. Composure is something they were missing initially, and finally in the third game they make a comeback of their lifetime because they were ruthlessly beaten down before this game. They had just 9 points with 7 eliminations, and look at them now having a bit of a relief on their face as they've got a booyah for themselves and some decent amount of eliminations as well.
Woo. I mean, this was a phenomenal endgame, not gonna lie. The circle was so cruel, forcing teams to go from the hilly regions into the urban regions, and then from the urban regions into the open. It tests your ability to fight everywhere, and that's why this was one of the most exciting games that we have seen in a while. Great performance from iQOO Total Gaming as they go for the 3-1 split. 3 of them on top of the garage house, with Mafia providing overwatch from behind, and then you've got Shanky leading the charge as a spearhead up front. And even though Tio almost got the clutch, even though he had like 2 knocks, Total Gaming used the reinforced glue walls to get the res and pick up all of their players. Their healing was much faster than Pandora Stars could handle, much faster than Pandora Stars could knock their dominoes down.
Absolutely. Total Gaming doing a phenomenal job, and again there's going to be a bit of a change in the overall standing. The point difference there between them and the top team was somewhere around 30 plus, and with this they're going to be inching in closer. They've got a total of 30 points in this game with 19 eliminations. On the other side we've got Dewa, United, Horus, who are still keeping up their momentum, still trying to be more consistent, has got 19 points, which is no joke.
Woo! Yeah, it's still very impressive from Dewa, United, Horus. I kind of feel like they slowed down towards the end of the game because a lot of these eliminations came in the first 2 circles itself. They had like 11 eliminations at the very start of the game. So yeah, they kind of slowed down towards the end game, which does make sense because in Brasilia, it's very easy to get knocks, but it's very hard to convert those knocks into eliminations. So they were United with 19 points total is still very impressive. Even iQOO Total Gaming for that matter, they only had 9 points in the previous 2 games. So them getting a big 30 bomb now puts them at a very competitive spot. Extreme X with 18, then you got Pandora Stars with 17, followed by NXT at 16 points. Quite a lot of firepower from them. And then somehow Team Akkee didn't perform as well. They again had like 9 eliminations at the very start of the game, and that's what they end the game with.
Horaa Esports still retain the top spot with 134 points. Total Gaming, they get a bit of a leap to 39 as they end up at the 15th spot. Not a bad run if you ask me. Again, Dewa United Horus, they've got 56, almost equaling the number of Team 2XT who have already played 6 of their games. And let me tell you, amongst the 6 games, they've got 1 booyah, but still they end up at the 12th position. And that's how strong the lobby was yesterday.
Yeah, Team Hind really doing well. Look at all these teams out here with 9 games played, and they still can't overtake Team Hind's performance from yesterday. Well then, you also got a couple of, booyahs over here from Team Hind, a couple of booyahs over here from the top of the board. But there's still a lot of teams over here without a single booyah still ruling the spots over here. I'm talking about teams like Autobots. I'm talking about teams like GG Instinct. Even without booyahs, they have managed to keep themselves on the left-hand side of that overall standings page in the top 50%.
Another sniper is going to be rewarded as the MVP, and he did the deed for his team. It's going to be Mafia, who's got 4,648 damage for the 6 eliminations, which is turning out to be an average for every MVP out there. An M82B, which I've not seen in a long time on the screen. Happy to see it again back. A Skylar, Maro, Moko, and a Suzy, just to make sure he's got some extra coins for all the hard work he puts in.
Yeah, and they needed that money, bro. Because for the first few circles of the game, Total Gaming were losing their members left, right, and center. They had to get so many revives in order to enter the last circle as a strong 4-man unit. So yeah, that Suzy can really help them out. But it doesn't really help that Mafia is the one that ends up getting eliminated early more often than not. So all those extra points, all those extra tokens, they have to be capitalized upon by Aztec, because he's the only other person running a Suzy. And because he often ends up surviving for his team, and because he's got that Suzy, he can use that extra money to get the deployment of his teammates out very quickly. But if you look at the overall team composition, it's nothing to write home about. It's very standard over here, with Shanky being the frontliner of the team with the Oscar and the Dreki. You got Delete using the Chrono as well as the Tiva. He's the hard support player, even though he calls himself a rusher. And then, of course, Aztec using the Beast and the Alvaro as well, using those grenades to deal quite a lot of damage. But if you take a look at the damage numbers, there's quite a lot of disparity between the team members over here. On one hand, you've got Aztec and Shanky, both of them at 1700 and 1500 damage each, which isn't bad when you look at Delete. He's got slightly more damage than them with 2429. And then you've got Mafia at like a whopping 4000 damage, 4648. Like, yeah, this is one team that you can say is not really firing on all cylinders. Not all of them are in full form right now. And when you take a look at the circle analysis, you will also notice that Total Gaming were running around quite a lot just trying to get the res onto their fallen teammates.
Yeah, always, and they've been successful with it, right? And everywhere they go, they found that, there's one team which has been chasing them out. Through the Fire Brigade, when they made it into the mainland, I was kind of concerned for them when they took that vehicle and most of it was shot at. But nonetheless, they had that good footing in the final circles, due to which they were able to be composed and then take this fight. But more impressed I am with Pandora in this game. Initially, they just took one fight for 1 eliminations, and after that, the recovery was also phenomenal. They tried to survive, walking in the footsteps of Total Gaming. They also had some decent amount of eliminations.
Yeah, they also had quite a lot of eliminations. So really good performance from these two teams over here. I also would have loved to see more from Dewa United Horus, because like they got 9 eliminations in the first circle itself, and then they kind of just fell flat. Even Extreme EX, for that matter, they got 8 eliminations in the first circle, 1 more in the second, putting them up at 9. And then absolutely nothing for the next 3 circles. Even in the last circle at like 6th one, when they were just defending themselves against the raining waves upon teams like Akkee and Dewa United Horus, they only managed to get 1 elimination out of it. NXT stole away quite a lot of their points.
Absolutely, but today's standings, ladies and gentlemen, they've got 65 points. On the top, it's got to be Extreme EX. The last match is where they couldn't find that momentum, but the first 2 games is where the true decimation came from. And Dewa United Horus is also one of those teams who've been consistent with that of Aura. NXT, the aggression speaks for itself. They've got 32 eliminations, a total of 51 points. Total Gaming, look at them from the bottom of the table to the 5th position. And that's what I say. All it takes is just one good game for you to make a comeback.
Yeah, one good game can help you mount that comeback. I mean, let's talk about Total Gaming. They went from 9 points to 39 points today, and that's pretty good. But when you're consistent like Horaa Esports and NXT Esports, you will get around the 55 and the 51 point mark. Total Gaming are also tied with Akkee, who have been reasonably consistent, although at like slightly lower levels. So they need to step up their game as well. But I am concerned for Godlike and GG Instinct, because at least Godlike had a decent amount of points yesterday.
Yeah.
If they don't perform today, then that will mean that they have squandered their advantage away, and that is just very, very unlucky. But for GG Instinct, they did not have enough points yesterday, and they are not performing well enough today, which means, yeah, we might just not see them in the main event. I'm sorry, in the finals. And as there's only like 3 games left, all these teams need to put their foot on the gas and not let go until they either see the qualification or until they see God. That's it from our side, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna now take a quick break, and on the other side, you will see Arca along with Lucifer. So that's it from my side. See you again later.
As the zone is closing in, it seems like Group B are feeling right now the heat going through the Group A performance that they did yesterday is right now tumbling them. They thought that is the toughest lobby as the new group have joined in. Group C are completely putting them under pressure, and Group B, majority of the teams so far have not raked up enough points. Welcome back to Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring. My name is Lucifer. With me on the desk is Arka, and Arka, I want to ask you, last day for Group B, and it doesn't seem to be a great day at all.
I guess it's groups who have done so much of homework. They understood how to tackle this lobby and they've come up with an answer. Luckily, they're not facing Group A, and that means tomorrow is going to be a much more closer call. But let me remind you this, in the previous planes, we saw that the most of the qualification actually came in from Group B. So I'm expecting a comeback from all the teams of Group B so that they can actually put some decent points on the table, and the pressure is going to surmount for teams later on tomorrow.
Now, we'll figure out whether the pressure is going to rise up tomorrow, because right as of now, rising through the fire is only Group C. Group B are right now unable to figure out what's the best foot forward. They've been missing out on points. They've been getting eliminated very early on. And even in today's standings, if you take a look at it, out of the 6 teams, 4 teams are at the bottom in comparison to the teams in Group C. But with this, let's jump to the preferred drop spots and see if there's a possibility, a little bit of a hope. And looking at Lakar EWG, just like yesterday, there doesn't seem to be a lot of hope, especially in the preferred drop spots. There's already iQOO Total Gaming, who just got a booyah. NXT towards the end of the day yesterday started performing really well, and now on top of that we end up seeing Straw Hats also being in the mix. Even though they've not had the greatest start as they've come in today, but they're still doing the job. They're accumulating points and they've been better than Lakar EWG, so I'm worried for them. Along with that, even GG Instinct, we were calling them as the troublemakers, Arka, but it seems like they've been unable to find that today so far. They've got only 9 points in total today. 9! I'm sorry, man. 3 games, 9 points. Unbelievable from GG Instinct.
You know, somewhere I think I'm going to break the ice over here. GG Instance acquired most of their points, especially when it comes to FFMIC, and also in this Asia Invitational, by targeting more of Godlike. They were able to, you know, reset their mindsets when they took down the players of Godlike. A 4v4 always went in their favor. But this time, since Godlike is trying to evade from those fights, I strongly feel like GG Instance might be having a bit of a trouble. I might be wrong, but I feel that this could be a possibility.
A possibility for our predictions, while you guys can also do it in the chat. Let's take a look at it. We both have gone in synonymous for Dewa United, and I think slowly they are, after their initial fall off at the game number 1, they've picked up their pace, they've picked up eliminations, they've actually looked to be toppling the Booyah teams itself in game 2 and game 3. And next I end up going towards Extreme X, and I think today has been a lot more consistent, which we kind of expected with the Team 2XT being yesterday. However, they've figured out the recipe today with iQOO Total Gaming, because they just got the Booyah. And on your end, I end up seeing, yes, we mentioned Dewa United, but you have hopes going in towards Solara for GG Instinct. I believe the reason is they have picked up a lot of points whenever it's Solara, so this could be a hope for them. But along with them, NXT being in the mix, GG Instinct, I am a little off on that, because now there is NXT also in your prediction.
I mean, I strongly feel like, you know, these are the teams who have got really good firepower. All they have to do is not be overconfident. GG Instance, who are currently having just 3 eliminations, shows that, you know, every 4v4 fight they've been taking, they've always been on the receiving end of things. They can go in for a 1v3 split. I don't see why not, because ultimately that's going to reward you with a lot of points, and also it's going to allow you to have some survival. So I somewhere feel that GG Instance, they will be learning from their mistakes in the previous games and will be looking forward for a good one.
I hope learning from the mistakes is even Godlike Esports. Yesterday was a better day, and when we kind of go back to South Asia planes, it was day 2 when they performed really well, ended up getting almost close to 100 points. Thankfully, at least in your qualification to the grand finals, right, the cutoff is not going to be so high as 170, but there's a lot of teams as obstacles in front of you. And how do you figure out, is it going to be around 130, is it going to be 150, is it going to be again at 170? Unpredictable, but it's time to predict at least where we are heading. Is our game number 4. The halfway is done. If you have made mistakes, time to correct it now, because we go to Solara, where none of the teams are going to spare you, because all of them are going to be forced to be battling you.
Absolutely, you're going to be put under fire and you'll have to rise through it to make sure that you have some really good points on the table, because the overall standing right now seems to pressure the teams, especially from that of Group B. The flight path, an interesting one, yet again dissecting the map into two equal halves. And I again see that EXE versus GG Instant taking place towards the Riders Club. And I'm concerned, man, because GG Instants, they need to wake up. They need to convert this 4v4.
I hope they do, as you did mention. And there it is, Akkee finding an opening knock fix. He's the one. But this is going to be also with Dewa United, where we kind of did predict Akkee maybe with GG Instinct, but doesn't happen. Only one of the players is a knock, and that is going to be an exchange between the players of Dewa United as well as Akkee. Fuwarak as well as North, they exchange blows, but NJ Ohio is trying to abide by some time while Fuwarak gets that elimination confirmation.
GG Instant, Swaroop is going to be the last man standing. This is another fight, and look at how Extreme X are interested to take him down. He's just got 200 coins, and that means he'll have to run away from this position, get to another vending machine, or rather try to get some more coins so that he can revive his teammates. And this is the first time in today's day that we see that GG Instants are still alive in a lobby.
I hope this is going to be a wake-up call for them and also a second chance. But for the time being, Extreme X seems like Dewa United, who could have had a big opportunity, while they get pushed off. Another team looking forward to opportunity today is going to be Hotshots. They've not picked up a lot of points, as you can see. In current position, they're at the 18th spot. So a lot to pick up for them. And especially that there was a lot of hope coming in for this team. This was the top team from Pakistan itself and the only representative as we have. A little bit of shots taken at Extreme X. Not yet a knock found. As we know, Extreme X, with the experience of the lobby they've had so far, they know how to take up battles and how to avoid ones. And for the time being, at Riders Club, they're waiting and avoiding them.
EXE, they've got such a great spot. Look at them. Two of the players on either side of the building, keeping an eye on from where the players can come in from. In case they come in from the big opening, they've got so much angle. And with Sejan so strong in close range, every other team needs to be in fear. But for now, Tucson, he gets in front of a player. The shots might be connecting. It's going to be AC80, the time turner, inside which the fight takes place, but eventually gets taken down. But it's the same story on the other side as well, as Leo Pao. He also gets taken down. And Unas is going to be the last man standing. And now we'll have to see whether EXE is going to let him breathe.
Thankfully, he was nowhere close to this battle, and Hotshot Esports will survive. On the other end, Extreme X, similar to what happened in the fight with GG Instinct, just a little bit of a knock of one of the players, but this time at least a confirmation. So Tucson instantly will be brought back. But for the time being, Godlike are trying to bring back their performance that they were be able to replicate. But can they? No, say the opponents. And there is the knock coming in from Lakar EWG. But Nobita, today and even yesterday, this man has been playing exceptionally well. And there it is on Hamim. Without giving him a chance to get to the vending machine, quickly drops him down. And Nobita has been rising up for Godlike, and he's showing for everybody out there who are questioning him. And he's been finding brilliant eliminations. He's been able to find a big one with that launcher. Yogi making a jump, and he's relayed information of where Lakar EWG is. But while this is happening, Hotshot, what just happened? It seems like Anas got found, and that is going to be the last player to go out, with that team being eliminated.
Yogi takes a big risk, has given so much information to Godlike right now, and they can actually capitalize. Rapa running out in the open, shots not connecting. Nobita is kind of in pressure, and it's visible on our screens. As EWG, they survive to live a little bit longer. It's going to be Yogi who lands back, and yet again, Yogi, if he's able to get an off angle on this team, he might be able to strike and make things much more interesting in this 4v4.
All the teams in Group B are right now feeling the pressure. They understand if they don't end up picking points here, Arka, it is going to be their end and their run for Grand Finals coming to a rest. They won't want that. And especially Lakar EWG were at the bottom of the table yesterday when we ended the day. Today, they don't want the similar situation. And on the other end, the teams who have been trying to climb up on the tabletop, Dewa United as well as iQOO Troll Gaming are in a fight amongst themselves. But it seems like iQOO Troll Gaming did not want to have a fight, and they wanted to take the rails and move in the other direction. But still, Dewa United catch one of their players and confirm that elimination.
The calm before the storm, Lucifer. And I've always seen this take place, right? Until now, it seems like every other team was looking out for some fights. Hey, Mo. He's gonna be one of those snipers I love the most. I've seen him do some exceptional job with his sniping. But this time around, he doesn't land a shot. He lets the others breathe. And that could be a very different approach to this game. NXT, they've been doing this lately. They've been trying to, be a little less aggressive. And probably the reason is they know that they need to play all 12 games by the end of today.
While we're talking about teams from Group C who made their entry today and they're trying to perform, it has been, yes, to be honest, Dewa United and NXT, and now with the previous game, iQOO Total Gaming, who picked up points. However, teams such as Extreme X have been still able to hold them off. A little splurge of eliminations coming in from Pandora as well has held off the top 6 positions of the day. It's not given them chance towards the top 6. They're still fighting for it. But on the other end, Godlike, while they're trying to fight for it, they have accumulated 112 points. We are still not sure of where we are going to be ending up, because Extreme X, as an example, the way they qualified to the main event, they were at the dead 18th position with 170 points. And I'm pretty sure no teams want that situation happening. And Godlike somehow bring back their players again. Their fights have not been working. Just 2 eliminations. Nobita and Nancy make a quick leap in the other direction as his teammates also go in another split.
Godlike's approach to this fights turn out to be more interesting than everybody else. They're not shying away from getting away from fights. And that's a really clever approach, because previously they would have watched how Total Gaming are more composed in the previous game, right? So they would try to inculcate that. As Indian teams, they try to make a comeback in the latter stages of the day. I'm hoping to see them walk away with a booyah as well. And let me remind you, yesterday, Godlike ended the day with a booyah. So a lot of expectations over them.
Expectations on every player, as even Lakar EWG would want to pick up eliminations. It's not working. Hamim, he seems to be the last one. Straw Hats, they've picked up a lot, but thankfully Lakar EWG get to the vending machine quickly, gets Fuzan as well, and my bad, I thought he was the last one surviving. They're all holding down at Aquarium, but Hamim, who made his way to the vending machine, I think has given away the position of his other surviving players. Rapal is also stuck surrounded, and there is another knock coming through. Shock is also going to confirm it. Straw Hats now having an even better game, and I'm pretty sure they want to make their movement from that 17th spot somewhere down the 8th later down the line. But one of the players using the advantage of the Aquarium is right now Undersea. But for how long? Eventually will be spotted, and then that elimination will come through. And thankfully, Fuzan, who was revived, is now the last player and in a complete other direction, nowhere close to Straw Hats.
Straw Hats, shocked, is now woken up. He's got 4 elims amongst the 5 for his team. And I really like it, right? When team understand that pressure is mounting on their shoulder, most of them take it as a privilege and only those succeed. For now, Dewa, looking at it, fakes. He gets taken down as Akkee is able to land one. And that gives them an opportunity to get in a bit more closer. Adrian on the other side is cooking up a nice grenade to lure out the enemy. Shots not connecting, but reset on the other side in that close range. Doesn't realize that Adrian has come in way too close. Will eventually get taken down. And Dewa, they got 6 early eliminations and a good start.
We did see Akkee's reset try to use that Valiant dash in his opponent's disadvantage, but it did not work out, did not hurt him. And therefore, now Akkee left in a big disadvantage, and thankfully NJ Ohio has a lot of coins. Gets a full revive on the team. But still, this is not a great sight for Team Akkee. They're at the 16th spot, 43 points. There was also us discussing of how the positioning of some teams were. Autobots, who are still in the top. They're not even playing today. But that tells us of the efforts that they were put in yesterday are helping them out. However, whatever GG Instinct did yesterday, nothing being replicated today. Tiger spots Sejan. Just damage, pod shot taken. Sejan was busy here to get his teammate back up. He still has another opportunity to get one more player back up, but I'm pretty sure he wants to make sure he gets the super revival. But he's completely surrounded, doesn't get a chance, and Tiger, who had earlier spotted him, will put him down. So Extreme X now again going back to survivors mode.
GG Instincts, they've got this momentum. This is the first time we see them survive for so long in the lobby, and guess what? Tiger has now woken up. He's got 3 eliminations. And the whole team is right now hunting for Akkee. Shows that they're desperate for some points. They know that they need to build that momentum right now. They put another player down in the name of Fix, and they're searching for the last one. But Patlu has no clue that the opponent is right next to him.
Yeah, they did not use anything as an Arvon or a UAV to get that information because the player is still there.
Yeah.
And GG Instinct just move away. Okay.
I feel like, they
Thankfully,
were
Akkee
trying
will
to
survive.
get to the nearest vending machine or probably a recall tower, and that's why they let go of that spot.
For time being, where GG Instinct are, they have another challenge right in front of them, and Godlike have also been challenged today multiple times. Not great in terms of points that they've acquired. And they are the ones right in front. And as you already mentioned, GG Instinct end up getting opportunity to pick up players from Godlike. Now they have one. Close to the Arsenal, but it doesn't seem like they're moving in the direction of Godlike. But on the other end, moving towards the direction of eliminations is Dewa United with Karasi's healing coming through. And Cyber will be put down again, but this time he's not the last one. Hamim trying to hold off at the pillar, but that's not going to help him out. But something that could help him is another team. And that's what happens, and it forces Dewa United from the fight and gets back on the platform.
A bit of a cover. Hamim is in trouble. Adrian now has a clue. He puts up glue wall melters to make sure that Hamim is exposed. But luckily he gets behind that pillar and he's going to be surviving for a bit more longer. Whereas Dewa, as they try to take down the players at a distance, it's going to be Adrian who's so interested to take down Hamim and get that elimination for himself. Total Gaming on the other side, it's going to be Kiki who puts another player down as Buru from Horaa is able to put the complete squad of Total Gaming out of this lobby.
These are these three teams coming in from Group B who have been performing today. Horaa Esports, Extreme X, and a little bit coming in from Pandora. Dewa United in a little bit of an off spot because they had to kind of figure out whether they're going to be on the platform or not. They want to get the elimination on Hamim, and it seems like Hamim somehow is moved in the other direction and Lakar EWG still survived. But let's take a look at what happened to iQOO Troll Gaming. Mafia was down, Delete also gets hit, and it's all up to Shanky trying to make a run towards the platform, get towards the rails, but all being denied, and Horaa hold it off really well. But this is a position they're not going to be safe from. A lot of battles, and eventually even the final fights happen in this position. And right as now, Godlike eye for a fight like that. Horaa Esports, they get to know there's another enemy who's striking upon them. Riptide Rhythm using twice. Stops, still doesn't get knocked. Sparsies as well, they're going to be holding right next to the truck, and Godlike are in trouble as this is the Bolt Maker call, but Savage, he gets knocked. Sparsies also gets knocked. This is the opportunity for Godlike to strike instantly, make a move, put down Horaa Esports, getting to the launch pad, but there it is. It is Dewa United who are helping out for Godlike, but as numbers go down, Dewa United now put up shots even on Godlike, and it seems like Nobita, he is the last one. He is trying to survive along the lines of Voodoo, but thankfully Nancy, he took the jump and he's in the other direction, so therefore Godlike will still survive. Marco, nice dash right into the glue wall, taking a 1v1, and eventually will find an opportunity to put Voodoo down, and that is going to be an end for Horaa as well.
Godlike Esports making sure they clear their path as they make it inside the circle. A very good approach coming in from their side. GG Instincts get eliminated. Another disappointment for this team. They had around 12 eliminations, and I thought that they might end this game on a good note. Nonetheless, Dewa have been holding this position for a long time. This time, Akkee wants to come in and challenge them for this spot. Akkee falls back, Reset gets taken down. It's got to be fixed, and what do I see? A loadout. It's a very different approach coming in from the side of Dewa, and they're doing wonders with this as the last man standing, oh hi ho, he gets taken down midair because it's Kiki singing the songs of death with a sniper, and Dewa, they get 17 eliminations until now.
From game number 2, this team has been getting double digits in terms of elimination and looking unstoppable, and another fight now. And this is going to be Straw Hats who wanted to make their way inside the circle. I don't think this is going to be a great fight if they pick up, but thankfully they go below the platform, which gives them an opportunity to take a head-on fight with the team that's going to be down the hill, that's going to be Pandora. But fights don't stop at all. This is the position we're talking about. North is getting knocked as Godlike make their movement against Dewa United. But Godlike have they coordinated this approach. North's knocked, but because of the glue walls, they do not get that elimination, and Dewa United recover him.
Godlike, they're desperate. They want some eliminations, and that's what they're trying to do. They get to the only place where there's a little bit of hot compound inside the circle. But now they're being challenged. Dewa comes in closer. If there's a grenade launcher or a grenade, the story can be different. And the amount of glue walls Godlike is right now using is going to eventually fade out as Adrian comes in. And eventually we can see that Knot on the other side with that grenade launcher will be landing it to perfection. Godlike out, and it all comes down to Pandora, Dewa, and Straw Hats.
Any team challenging Dewa United Horus have to be worried about Quicky's position. That man with a sniper has been in a different angle, and therefore that has been a downfall for all the teams challenging. Right now Straw Hats, they have another challenge. They thought it was only Pandora, but right now Dewa United have an eye. Extra, he gets knocked. Adrian right at the edge, and there is even a mine. Thankfully, glue walls will block the damage coming in. He will be revived. But Pandora, you can see, they're biding time right now. They know that Dewa United have an upper hand. They want to give that chance for Dewa United to put Straw Hats down. And Straw Hats, it seems like one of the players is making a run. Shocked is running right towards Pandora to get that fight in a fist-on, head-on fight approach.
Ooh.
And it kind of works out. Gets one knock, however, gets exchanged. Nade getting tossed. Pandora in trouble. Putra, the last man standing, needs to get two of the players back up. Dewa United have the advantage. On the other end, Straw Hats, Extra, and who are the only players? They try to move downhill, doesn't work. Dewa United's Kiki, the man has been just powering through with his sniper, and now a launch right towards the opponent's face, and Zax will find the booyah for Dewa United Horus, something that they were brewing from very long, finally in game number 4.
Look at how much pressure that has put out of them. They are enjoying this. They know that everything went right for them in this game. They start to dance, they start to entertain, and no wonder they're one of the best teams coming in from their region. And what a fight it was. Kiki, this man has been phenomenal in this lobby.
Dewa United Horus, and I think major credit has to go to Kiki. But also Zax, of how he held off against Godlike's fight. We ended up seeing him putting down along with Adrian's help, and he was surviving inside the container. But look at Kiki, this is what I was talking about. Man, amount of annoying shots. He was a menace for both the teams. And look at those shots with the AWM, and also with the enhanced hammer. That is the reason those shots were so phenomenal coming in. His weapon was hit with the enhanced hammer coming through, and now Dewa United Horus end up getting a booyah in game number 4. And I think finally one of the first teams in their entrant today, debut performance coming through Group C, will now start climbing the ladder against the odds of Group B.
Now, what kind of a leap have they taken in the overall standing? I'm interested to know, because Dewa United Horus, I was expecting such a performance to come early on today, but ultimately it has come now. 39 points for 27 eliminations. The numbers speak for itself. There's been many teams who have been performing in a similar manner. GG Instance, they've got 17, even though they couldn't make it into the top 5. They've got 12 eliminations. Straw Hats, Pandora Stars are the two teams who tried to survive for the longest time possible, and they walk away with 16 points each.
Straw Hats and Pandora, yes, they managed to equalize. Extreme X, they are keeping their foot up in terms of being consistent at a total of 14 points. Team Akkee with a total of 11. But the teams at the bottom who have especially not gotten much, at least for Lakar EWG, I thought this was a start of something new, because 7 eliminations and instantly they just get blown apart and lose out their positioning. However, Hotshot, NXT, iQOO Gaming, not a great game, especially for Hotshot, who thought they were the ones starting off a fight with Extreme X. But with that put aside, let's talk about the overall standings. How much of a dent has finally been made? And there it is, Dewa United Horus with just 4 games under their belt. They have total of 95 points. And if you remember yesterday's total standings at the end of day 1, with the highest points was Team Hind at 97, which you can still see. But with just 4 games, Dewa United Horus, even with a very disappointing game number 1 start, have still made it to the 6th spot, Arka.
Yeah, and all the hard work, they're just going to be reaping benefits out of it. And I'm not going to be shocked if they top the table not only today for the respective group, but also the overall standing by the end of tomorrow. Expand on the other side, they're losing their positions, Autobots as well, but these are the teams who are watching the games, right? And they've got a great advantage. Kind of concern for teams like Lakar EWG. They've got 10 games done and dusted. They've got an average of 7, which is not helping them to retain the top 12 spots.
Let's hope teams manage to find a way to make it to the top 12. And just like how we had a lot of hope coming in for Thailand, because yes, they have one of the world champions in their region, and on top of it, it was the last FFMAI 2025 that we ended up seeing being taken by Thailand. And today, and just like yesterday, not a great start for Thailand. But however, the teams from Indonesia, they're performing really well, and now the MVP going to Kiki, and it has to, man. There is no other way that if it was not for Kiki, Dewa United might have had trouble, because we saw how Godlike also made their jump, right? That could have been an opportunity for Godlike to put down Dewa United. An opening was also found. But credits to this man using that Morse, going behind enemy line, and especially having that Raphael. That was one of the reasons that while Godlike were jumping from his direction itself, they did not know he was taking shots, because you do not hear the shots being taken from that rifle.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, the enhanced hammer, which you were speaking about, rather I see a tactical market coming in from his side. I guess, it was all about how well he was able to position himself using that Morse. But I'm more interested to see how his teammates have done, because 6,000 damage coming in from a single player shows that the rest of the teams had to do a little bit of a contribution alone. North on the other side, A124. And I believe that was one of the strong reasons as to why the opponents were unable to use those close range active skills, and that gave Dewa a bit of a space to work around with.
Now, Dewa United, with the space that they did get here on Solara, they've made a lot for themselves on the overall standings. A124 also used really well, because if not for that, the other teams with their active skills could have changed the game. And with Zax being there, we spoke about the electrotherapy already, gave them the viability, the survivability, which worked better for them. With that, let's take a look at the stats, and you can see Zax with 12 assists as a rusher, and all their rushers as well. We see Adrian with 8 assists coming through, Kiki with 7, and North at 9 assists. This game seems to be so well performed, played out, and planned coming in from Dewa United Horus that it had and bound to be a booyah. And in the last games that we ended up seeing, right, the last 3, I'm excluding game number 1 because they just had 3 points. From that 3 points, if you minus, the total right now, as you could already see, what Dewa United, who've made it to the top 6, tells you of how well they've been performing. But with that, let's jump to the circle analysis. And Dewa United, they're already in the circle number 1. In comparison to even Akkee, who should have had a great game, they get 3 eliminations.
No, one of the major reasons why we see Dewa at the top of the table is how aggressive they're been with their approach of taking fights in every single circle. Look at them. They've got 3 in the first one. Second, again, they move forward to get 2. Second, they get 3 again, 2 at the third circle, and then they continue their domination until they get a booyah. And these are one of those teams who showcase us how consistent a team can be in every circle. At least grab 1 or 2 eliminations so that you have that momentum going.
Now, while we talk about momentum, Arka, there's some teams who need to start catching to that play. If they don't, as we've already spoken, right? Group B, we are now done with game number 4. Solara could have been an opportunity for you to pick up eliminations. GG Instinct, their survival did prolong and kind of made us or give us hope that they could find a lot. And they did. As you can see, they have a total of 12 eliminations in this game. Good for them, picked up compared to the previous games, especially with having only 9 points, and now they have 12 eliminations. So that's a capability that shows us they have a chance. And with that chance, let's move to the preferred drop spots and see if there's a lot more. This time, as we move towards Bermuda, it should be a lot more safer in terms that they know the terrain, they know how to fight, and they will also have an idea of where they could move in directions in case a casualty happens and to recover. Or if not, they know how to move around the terrain to find eliminations. And GG Instinct at Cape Town, for the time being, looks safe and sound. But right above them at Mill, we end up seeing Lakar EWG and Straw Hats, who need a lot of opportunities in terms of getting points. On the other end, Peak is a big cluster, Arka, and if that happens, I'm going to enjoy this Bermuda game.
I mean, I have a question for you now, Lucifer. Do you really think that teams are actually giving their drop locations, or are they planning to be deceiving so that the opponents have a different approach to the game? Because I've never seen 4 teams go to peak, especially Sentosa empty, Mars Electric empty, and also Hangar left out in the open. Okay, let's forget Hangar for now. Katulitseva, it's got high ground, it's got so much of loot for itself, and it's also got that vending machine. I don't understand how come it's completely empty.
There were a lot of areas in the map itself that were empty, and I agree with your question. Are there going to be 4 teams dropping down at peak? No. But will there be 2 or 3? I think so. The challenge is going to be there. Because we've seen, right? Yes, Godlike like peak. Yesterday, they were not there, and therefore that was a situation that we kind of could have seen a lot of action towards, where Godlike tried their best. It still did not work out. And today, it seems like they're moving in the right direction. They wanted to pick a lot of peak performances, did not start off in that direction. However, it seems like slowly they're grasping in that direction, making their move. However, when we speak about Godlike, even iQOO Total Gaming, we did see that it seems like they could maybe drop by at peak. Tells us that teams are trying to eye for these spots just because they can get those early eliminations. And if you look at circle number 1, right? On an average, it seems to be that teams are picking up, I'm including all the 12 teams, we end up seeing at least 5 eliminations per team if they play up really, really well. And most of the teams have been picking up eliminations in circle number 1. However, while teams are doing that, they are also getting eliminated in circle number 1 itself. And Group B being today the last day, the so much stress that we are also kind of inclining if they're able to pick up points or if they're not. Only for this reason, because while the South Asia Plains was going on, it was top 8, and again, you had a part and parcel that you'll be able to move to the main event, fight with the Southeast Asian teams. And looking at the scoreboard of yesterday and now in comparison, we see South Asian Plains and South Asian teams are in toe-to-toe match with Southeast Asian teams. However, it is kind of changing today.
Yeah, and it's time for us to look at our predictions, and this is where I would like to bring in the audience as well. Please let us know what your predictions are in the chat, because ultimately I'm able to see most of you are getting it right at the end of the day. So I'm going to go with EXE because even though they had a good run in the previous maps, they're also trying to be consistent. They've got one booyah. They might look forward to, capitalize with some more. Akkee on the other side is going to be one of those teams. I believe that they've got a lot more to give. But somewhere, in the mid phase of the games, they're losing it out. Probably if they're able to make a comeback in that region, they might walk away with a big number as well.
And I'm pretty sure if they're able to, along with that lines, iQOO Total Gaming should be able to, being one of your last picks. But I've gone in for, I think, teams who have evolved down the line, and with the hope that I've seen, especially inclining towards more of Group B teams, I have Horaa as well as Godlike. Dewa United, Horus, they started off today, and I had my name of theirs in the very game number 1. If I was on desk, I would have kept their name. However, looking at how drastically they've evolved, they've changed their performance from game number 1 with the mistake they've done. I was just checking the amount of eliminations they've taken. 25 in game number 2, 17 or 18 in game number 3, and 27 in the last game that we just ended. And excluding the 3 points earlier, 92 points in just 3 games is what Dewa United Horus have accumulated. Reason I'm bringing this up is they're from Group C, not Group B.
Exactly.
While Group B did pick up a lot of points in their qualification in South Asia Plains, today they're missing out on points because Group C are even drastically exhausting in taking away points.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, even though it sounds like 90 points in 3 games, probably it's doable. Let's make it simpler. 30 points in every single game is no joke. And guess what? They've got 68 eliminations. Almost 80% of those points are coming in from eliminations. And that's how aggressive this team is looking in the lobby. Let's not forget, for the Indian teams like Team Godlike and Total Gaming, they need to step up. They've got 2 more maps in the hand. One map of Bermuda has always gone in the favor of Indian teams before. And hopefully, I'll be able to see, some more going their way. But before we head into the next game, I want you guys to share it among your friends. Let them know that things are getting more intensified, as it's going to be one of the few maps left out to be played, and we're going to be stepping into the most default map ever, and that's going to be the map of Bermuda.
Bermuda is where teams will try to recover. They have a lot more familiarity on this ground, but it is not going to be as easy as finally Group C have picked up pace. When we saw the initial games, it was still Group B trying to do the damage to the teams in Group C because they were new. But right now, they've gotten used to it. And with that, let's take a jump starting at Rimnam Village. We see Dewa United, the team who just got a booyah and making their way in the flight path while cutting it in half. So it's going to be an even-Steven split for all team. But I'm looking if there are going to be any drop spots. NXT seemed to be the very first around Rimnam Village, but look at Extreme Extreme X with Godlike and Lakar EWG. It seems to be a cluster at Clock Tower, and Arvon's already being used, meaning information that teams are getting.
This is where teams will have to fall back. Look at what GG Instincts are doing. They're coming back towards that clock tower region. They're interested to take these fights, and hopefully they don't get eliminated early on. The rest of the map, where we expected Peak to be that place where teams are going to fight it out, it's going to be clock tower, and let's see on whose side the time actually is.
Yeah, I hope right now the Sands do not go away from especially teams in Group B. And there it is, an opening already. GG Instinct and majority of the Group B teams are fighting amongst themselves. Nancy finding a lot of damage. Nice use of the turn turner. He's going in and out and finding these knocks. And GG Instinct, the 3 players who made their jump here at Clock Tower, will all be taken out. It's only Tiger, their last hope, who went to Cape Town.
Now this is where Godlike have got the right kind of a start, and they'll have to capitalize on it. As they come in closer, we're able to see that Yogi is able to land some as well. EWG, they've got some really good start. They've got 5 eliminations so far, but the job is still not done. They have to deal with Godlike, or changing positions from that of Clock Tower. Look at the different positions being held by them. And let's not forget, Wild Fox standing over here is going to just get sufficed or taken down as Nancy puts him out. And EWG decide to fall back, and I believe is a clever move.
Moving back or moving out. They know that looking at Godlike's position and their own position, it's drastically very different. And I'm pretty sure, I think at least something that Group B teams should think of achieving is 100 points. Before we started the show, right, with all the other desks that we were discussing, Arka, of how much points in total would you want Group B to be accumulating so they're safe and sound? And we were kind of worrying, is it going to be 130? Could it go down even further? Because that's the discussion even in the South Asia plains that we were trying to do. And right as now, like Godlike are picking up points. They've pushed themselves to 126 points. Lakar EWG, they're sitting at 76. They were able to get 5 eliminations. That is really good, and again a great start. But they've not been able to continue that down the line. Right as now, NXT, they want to continue as they've picked an opportunity at Factory. And they did kind of jump towards Clock Tower as well. It seems like they're running in different directions, and the troubling Pandora was in Sabo's cards. But no, unfortunate. The crane hit and now Sabo's stuck. Pandora, they're making a jump right towards him, and Sabo, if he's unable to hold this off, he's going to be put down, and that is what happens. Pandora will confirm an exchange of an elimination and avenge his teammate.
I mean, that was bad luck if you ask me. And also the pressure, we can see it's doing a lot of things in this lobby. It's mounting on everybody else. Theo does have an information that Marco is close by, doesn't take the shot, but rather he falls back. And this is a very good approach, because he knows that he needs to regroup with his team for survival. As Theo tries to run away, Yogi is going to be the eyes for the team. He goes above, he sees that Dewa is also somewhere close by. Needs to be careful, as more shots could be connected from his side. iQOO Total Gaming on the other side have lost a player, and they've got another team around them in the name of Akkee.
Akkee, along with iQOO Total Gaming, they make their way in today itself. Total Gaming, they've gotten their booyah for the day, whereas Akkee haven't. And there it is, a nice shot coming in from Aztec. A narrow plushie to try and take his HP away, but that doesn't work. He'll get that confirmation very soon. Did even get the players back up. But he's even worried that maybe players from Akkee will still find him, and that is what happens. NJ Ohio, quick as he makes his way to the vending machine, will also pick up Aztec. Thankfully, iQOO Total Gaming moving the other direction, but moving towards a fight is going to be Dewa United against Godlike. Nancy's already been put to rest, but they have an exchange on Zax. Marco tried his dash, but it doesn't work. Notch shuts him down, and another dash coming through. With that, Nobita goes down, and problem strikes for Godlike.
At one point of time where they were looking really strong in this lobby, the time turner coming in from that of North changed the fate of Dewa in that fight. They've got 4 eliminations. They're going to be happy about it. Luckily, Godlike this time around had that 1v3 split, due to which they were able to bring back one of their players. But they're still not done. They need to pick up more points. They've got 126. In the beginning of the day, we spoke that the cutoff might fall between 150 to 160, but Mafia for now is going to put down Savage to get that confirmation, as Horaa started to lose players.
Horaa Esports, while they lose players, it seems like iQOO Total Gaming have also lost a couple. Delete and Shanky are out. 3 eliminations only. Mafia is still surviving, so there's still hope. However, for Horaa, it's being lost. Aztec has an opportunity to completely eliminate the squad of Horaa. Runs right towards the player, but he's putting up a lot of glue walls and denying an opportunity. Aztec going around, doesn't have the best weapon, but will still strike and put and eliminate Horaa Esports out of the lobby at the 12th spot. And Horaa Esports, they are from Group B. They've accumulated a lot of points. Sitting at 145 will feel comfortable, but losing any game will also still strike an opportunity for others to climb up the ladder.
This is where Godlike have got a great opportunity, if you ask me. With the table toppers out of this game, they can make a lot of difference. All they need is a 20 to 30 pointer to be at the top of the table itself. Whereas on the other side, Akkee, they've been relentless in their fights, and right now Straw Hats are trying to push upon them, but still they hold on to this position so strong. As Reset is trying to do his best, they put down another player, and this is where a 1v1 is going to reveal which among these players are going to stay alive. It's going to be Troy versus Reset, and yet again he was clever enough to revive his teammate.
Clever enough, and Akkee will be able to hold this fight off. Get total 8 eliminations in their name. Great one, but they're out at the play zone, so they need to get back to recovery, head to the vending machine, and Straw Hats do the similar thing. Not enough to get the full squad back, but will still be able to get 2 of their teammates back. However, will that be enough? Close by is another battle that starts off, and that's going to be Godlike being challenged by Extreme X. One of the players already caught and confirmed. Nobita also knocked. His confirmation should also come through. However, Extreme X, they're not safe and sound. That was not the only team. Now NXT is going to be a challenge, and instantly as they get a shot received, put up glue walls, hold their position around peak. They want to make sure that they have this higher ground control. NXT had that same thought. They do not want to give away an opportunity. EXE, they've been playing a phenomenal game today. This is the highest amount of consistency that we've seen from Extreme X. And there's the opening flicker on Ash. And Flicker has been the MVP as the sniper. While Fox makes a jump, Sabo wants to cover, but that's not going to work out. It's Tuseen already makes a jump. Time Turner will not be of any use. Even Sabo goes down, and the chase right towards Wild Fox will put an end to the 3 players of NXT, leaving one last survivor in another direction altogether.
Extreme X, phenomenal gameplay coming in from these lads. 129 points if you ask me. 2 coming in from each, where Flicker is going to be registering the 3rd one. But Flicker, what a player this is turning out to be, because whenever the team needs him to give that opening, right, he's always there, and that's a big advantage. And look at how aggressive they turned out to be again, with GG Instinct trying to rush in upon them. Sajan gets taken down. Tucson and Rusty are trying to run away from this position. They know that they're weakened right now, and what's more important is try to get to the nearest vending machine.
Right now, getting near is going to be GG Instinct. They know that they need points in comparison to Extreme X. One of the players knocked but quickly revived. Flash Freeze doing the damage. Rusty wants to get back into the fight but will not be allowed. GG Instinct Swaroop good on his trigger, but Tuseen buying as much as time as possible. Glue walls to protect power, but he did spot, but another glue wall from his own end, and finally puts a knock to Tuseen. So GG Instinct will have a little more opportunity to fight and go proceed ahead.
This is where Flicker, the last man standing from EXE's location, has been compromised, and Power says when we know where he is, take some shots. He's going to be hitting a few, but Flicker, is he close to a vending machine? It seems like he's not, as Tiger tries to come in from inside the building. This is where the opportunity comes for GG Instinct to put an end for the complete squad of EXE, and that again is a great advantage for Godlike when you look at the overall standing. But Flicker, as he runs away from one team, he might end up in the crosshairs of another.
For the time being, I'll at least count that if teams are around 120 points, it could be enough, Arka, looking at how the lobby and especially the teams at the top are taking away points. So right as now, Pandora, they need to get close to 120. On the other end, GG Instinct, this is one of the last games that they will be playing, the penultimate, and after that one more. In the next game itself, they need to acquire at least this plus the other. Somewhere around 40 points could be helping them reach the 30 marker. Lakar EWG, however, in a big problem. 6 eliminations as of now. They're sitting only at 70 points. And for them, for sure, Arka, they need 30 points in both these consecutive games.
Sad news for GG Instincts, as 2 players of EXE are now landing, and we can see it at the horizon. And this is the time for them to strike. That's the weakest they might find Tucson as well as Sajin. They'll also have to find out the final player near the vending machine. But for now, EWG, you spoke about them. It seems like they have a strong footing in this lobby. Or rather, a strong footing in this building. And they're able to see, but Akkee gets eliminated from this lobby. And that means the bottom of the table is now open for teams to make a climb.
Well, with that elimination, Pandora will be happy because they're the ones who picked up those eliminations. They're already at 119 total points, as you can see. But Lakar EWG wants something similar. They're able to spot the players, but they're not approaching for a fight. Nice shots being taken by Fuzan. Nice hits on that VSK. Vehicle also destroyed, but Dewa United are already inside the compound. However, in that same building at peak is GG Instinct, who now pushed Extreme X out of it. So there's going to be a problem for GG Instinct. They're a team who need points. And if they're able to put down Dewa United Horus, it could be a big opening for GG Instinct, especially in their confidence as well.
Heymo in trouble. Needs to be careful. His location is compromised, whereas the rest of his teams are trying to hold that high ground. I know that Pandora can be a menace in the lobby if they're left to survive. But at the same time, they need to watch out for, and this is what happens. Kiki from a distance is also contributing. And guess what? It's got to be Heymo landing at least 3 of them down. And eventually, he's down on his knees. The revival will come out easily. 6 eliminations. NXT are also doing well in this game.
NXT Esports, while initially they did have a little bit of a trouble, but now the recovery is great, as you said. But recovery even for Straw Hats is something that I'm kind of expecting, but it's not happening so far. They're making their leap right now, right towards the main compound of Peak. The crossover works out for them. They're inside the maze and even put down Kiki, the crucial player of Dewa United, who's been annoying everyone. But Adrian, look at him. The confidence between Dewa United Horus is, even if they lose a player, they're still going to be going and approaching to get him back to life, or at least revive him using the vending machine. And right now, because he's on the roof, they have a big opportunity, take a leap, and all of the players are jumping up there. And now GG Instinct can't challenge them. However, the challenge right in front of them is going to be Extreme X as well as Straw Hats.
This is where GG Instincts have been persistent to stop Extreme X. And I believe it's a good approach. The more you build pressure on a team, the more weaker they become, even in the latter stages of the tournament. Yeah, it doesn't matter because they know that they can make it inside. It's not far away. And one of the reasons why they're holding this position is because they've got some hard compounds as well. All 4 of them are there. And there's a vending machine close by. Every team would look forward to come to that vending machine. And that is when they will be able to strike. But Adrian comes in at the right time. And now GG Instinct have started to pour upon them.
Initial damage done. But the challenge already going through flash freezes. They're going to be there to try and bite or at least push off Dewa United Horus. And it seems like Dewa United Horus actually move away from the fight with GG Instinct, realizing that the zone's going to start closing in. Dewa United, another player from Extreme X been spotted. They already picked off one of the players, and now Flicker will also be in trouble. Quick pick on him and 5 eliminations, and that's going to be all on Adrian, the man who brought back Kiki to life. And Dewa United Horus again, another 4th consecutive game that they've managed to double down on their eliminations, 10 in total.
Godlike, look at their position. They've got a very fine position in this lobby. And they're been belting teams out there. They've been picking up eliminations. And slowly and steadily, you know, Godlike might be looking forward for a really good booyah. Nonetheless, EWG versus Dewa, it's going to be a fight of throwables. The carpet bombing from both these teams is just restricting them to get in closer. North has got that grenade launcher, is trying to do his best. It's going to be Rapal trying to get in closer. Cyber gets taken down, and this could be the opening they were looking out for. Kiki needs to get an angle, and if he gets it, for sure he's going to land another one.
Amim and Fuzan, Nero's plushie used. That'll give them the information at least of the players, but can they revive anybody? Cyber will be able to gotten back to life. But it's going to be enough for Lakar EWG as they've already suffered casualty. But you can see the confidence on Dewa United Horus. They don't care for that Nero plushie and eventually move in the other direction. But on the other end, Extreme X's last player who was trying to be prone and safe from any fights will be found, and Rusty will be put to rest. Dewa United Horus, after doing that, now they have a wooden compound for themselves. But GG Instinct, this is the trouble I talked about. Unfortunately, it seems like they are right now caught. They wanted to make their move in. They wanted to make sure they have the advantage. But now Tiger is stuck. Where does he go? He was one of the players trying to bring back an opportunity. But with him going out, that will put an end to GG Instinct's run right here in Bermuda.
Absolutely. Dewa on the other side, another 13 bomber coming in from their side. 7 shy of getting a 20, which they've been consistent about. Godlike on the other side is busy trying to restrict Dewa, and that is where NXT are clever enough. They're trying to find themselves in the middle of the center of the circle, and that is where they're going to be happy about it. SH, it's going to be Straw Hats getting eliminated, and Godlike are now approaching the big dogs. It's going to be Dewa versus Godlike, and let's see which among them survive.
Dewa United's Kiki puts an end to Lakar EWG. That man has been a menace on the sniper, as we've been talking about. A monster truck to try and provide cover for themselves, but one big advantage that Godlike have done is not going towards peak this time in the drop. They've later moved towards the peak position, and now they have control position. But Dewa United Horus running right towards Godlike. There Adrian making a dash, and if there is an opening, it could be an opportunity, but not with an opening on Nancy. Gets the confirmation as well, troubling Godlike on the number of players. Is Dewa United recover their player, but NXT, they make their jump in while Fox confirms the player not. Adrian still making a run. He wants to isolate the fights. Yogi's confirmation should be through, but Adrian, there are too many obstacles, too many players, and now he's stuck between two and sandwich position. NXT will put an end to the players of Dewa United with one player surviving. Eventually, the last one will also be found. So it's up to NXT and Godlike Esports, two Indian teams, 3v2.
A 3v2 situation. Godlike seems to have a bit of an advantage, but the maze, Godlike Yogi should come out of it, but eventually the Skylar's ability is going to get them closer. Nobita is trying to take down a player, but Marco is going to be landing it. Yogi on the other side is going to give him more time, and Nobita will be able to land the final player as well. This is going to be one of those games where Godlike have played it technically, tactically to get a booyah for themselves.
What a game coming in from Godlike. We were talking about their recovery, the way they did it in Group B of South Asia Plains. They are doing it once again. The team manages to recover, and Nobita, he has been on the front line of this recovery. In every game that we've seen Nobita, he has been there to clutch it out, to give opportunities, openings, and this time as well in the final elimination, he was the one who picked it up. We'll take a look at it in the last shot as well, but Marco and Nancy both are showing us hearts, and Nancy's trying to figure out how. Don't worry, Nancy, you figured out at least how to pick up a lot of eliminations and trouble the players out in the lobby. Great game coming in from Godlike, but Yogi, this man's always dead serious, Arka. Even when we met him in the land, right? The only time that he was kind of smiling and having fun were in the media day shoots. But other than that, even during the rehearsals, even during our actual day of the game, we never saw his face expression change. He was into the game all the time.
And that's one of the reasons why they've been consistent, right? He reads the lobby so well. He's so serious out there. He always understands how the lobby is and eventually adapts to it. And yesterday as well, we saw Godlike was able to put up a really good fight at the end. And today, with them doing so great in the final few games, I believe that they look forward to end the day on a high note.
What a great note this is towards game number 5, and next game being a randomizer. None of the teams know where we are heading towards. This is a really good game to pick a booyah on. Let's take a look at the last shot of how Godlike played this out. But because Godlike, they were about to be in trouble, we end up seeing, right, Nancy being knocked, and then a confirmation as well with the launcher coming through. And Dewa United Horus, they tried to make a quick jump against Godlike, not give them an opportunity. But NXT, they jumped right in between, putting Dewa United Horus in a rock and a hard place. Nobita once again, look at this opening being found, and then the confirmation with Marco on the last one. This is how we see the team together. Even though they lost one of the players, but 3v2 in their advantage, they make their mark. But once again, Godlike take the booyah, but Dewa United Horus, they take the top spot in the game standings. This team has been doing this. This is what I've been saying, the way they've been replicating. And when AJ was there, this is something that I was even talking to him about. While we saw the South Asian play in Sarka, we had at least one or two teams we said they're dominating, they're taking the top of the charts. And finally, one such name we have with us is Dewa United Horus.
Absolutely well said, because they have a target that is 25 points in every single game, and no matter what you do, when they know that they have a bad placement in the overall map, or rather when they know that the final circle is not coming their way, they eventually step into that aggressive mode, and that has helped out so much for them. Look at that, 18 eliminations. Even though the limelight is supposed to be on Godlike, they have snatched it away. Godlike, consistent games is going to be rewarding them as they go at the top of the table. 2 booyahs. And with this, they look forward to seal the deal in the final game for sure.
One last game to go, but with Godlike taking the top of the table, they will be happy in the overall standings. On the other end, teams that have to be worried about, especially who are still in Group B and not picked up points, is Lakar EWG. We spoke about it. They need to stretch, move towards somewhere around 110, 120. We kind of did incline on 130 being the point, but we are trying to stretch that barrier for Lakar EWG from Malaysia, because we remember of what Expand did in their initial games, and they did surprise us all, showing us of what they had in terms of caliber and how close they are towards Hind with the 6 games that they played yesterday. So Lakar EWG, we have hopes for them, but the last game with Dewa United, Horus playing in such a manner, Godlike picking up points like that, GG Instinct now slowly trying to climb in the direction, and NXT, who have a total of 79 points. This is what they try to do. Towards the end of the games, start picking up points, and towards the end of the day, right now, we end up seeing in the penultimate game, it's going to be MVP Mako with his Oscars, Valiant Dash, and having Nikita and Joseph, something normal that we end up seeing, and for survivability and viability, JBeeb's EP in play.
Yep, Marco, I really like this, lad lately. He's been shifting. He's a shapeshifter. Take me when I say this. He's the shapeshifter for Godlike Esports. Any given point of time. As a sniper, look at that. He's using Scar this time. The last time I saw him on an MVP, he had an, the shotgun for himself. So there's a lot going on from this player, but nonetheless, we see that Nancy on the other side, the silent assassin of the lobby. He's got that Chrono, Nikita Joseph and Athiva. Nobita is turning out to be my favorite from the side of Godlike, who's done so good with his grenade launchers, with trying to restrict players, with also trying to take those final fights. He's been phenomenal as well.
Yeah, with that Coda that he's playing with the Aurora Vision, something that we were talking about yesterday when there was a fight with Revenant X-Pac and they had this Coda. And Nobita has been very crucial. And this is one of the reasons that we might end up seeing Godlike success, and especially for the fans. And that is the reason also we said a lot of questions were there when iQOO was missing and Nobita started playing in our South Asia planes, and now is even in the main event and he's performing. You don't have to worry anymore for Godlike. 3 eliminations in his name, 3 assists, 3 knockouts, a damage of 1245. On the other end, Yogi is well contributing in big time in damage at 2988. Nancy, we already spoke about it. I mean, him being a support or the healer for the team, I don't think is the case, but he's still in that performance. As you can see, all the 4 players have taken up different roles, but still end up playing as rushers when it's needed.
Absolutely. The circle analysis is going to give us a better info of how things have crumbled in this game. I know that, Godlike is going to be one of the teams. Yeah, Godlike is going to be one of those teams who we need to watch out for, because this is again proving to us that if you are consistently picking up eliminations throughout the game, you will be rewarded to be in the top 3. If not, you're going to have enough points in the eliminations itself. And one team which has always been doing it is going to be Dewa United Horus. Somebody stop this team before they make a nuisance of the rest of the lobby.
I agree, Arka. I think they've been we kind of talk about the troublemakers. We talk about teams who just take away points. Right now, Dewa United, Horus, united together within their playing 4 and decided that they will take away majority share of elimination points from every team who would try and reach to go up the rung of the overall standings. Will not be enabled. And with Group B in trouble, as we've already spoken about it, reason to stress so much for Group B is because this is the last game. If they don't perform now, it is done for. However, for Godlike, I think a little hope is rising. Horaa Esports, we spoke about it, not much to be worried with. And Extreme X. On the other end, Lakar EWG. Pandora, little okay. But GG Instinct, they are, I don't know, they're very close to the swivel. I can either fall off or maybe take up a better spot.
I mean, they're the Humpty Dumpty of the lobby, if you ask me. Yeah. Either they survive or they have a great fall. So I'm hoping to see them make a proper comeback in the upcoming games. I know it's the last one. If they're able to put up at least, a 30-pointer in this one, probably they'll be sitting on the edge. And let me tell you this, until now, especially in the qualifiers, before it was about you making it into the top. Now it's about you not being in the bottom, and that brings in a different approach altogether.
While we talk about approach, it's an approach towards our randomizer to figure out our last and final game. Where are we heading? Solara, Kalahari, next Terra. No, it is gonna be Purgatory. Another opportunity here for teams to go all out. However, Arka, something to be wary about in this game is when we also saw today's journey of map-wise comparison. This has been the lowest in an average elimination, meaning you don't have a lot to score on. Teams in Group B, you better be ready to figure out a way forward with a lot of eliminations at the end of this last game.
I think they're going to be loose cannons of the lobby. They'll look forward to pick up as many eliminations as possible. And this is where teams like Dewa as well as Extreme EX, they have to be wary about all the other teams. Hopefully, we'll be able to see teams like Total Gaming or Godlike trying to evade fights, which they're very much capable of. Try to go into the final circles and pick up those booyahs, which eventually going to reward them with an average of 15 to 20 points, which is more than enough if you ask me, especially for Godlike being on the top of the table. 160 points will be a safe cushion that they will be making it through to the grand finals.
Okay, here's one thing that's still kind of now circulating in my mind, Arka, is do we end up seeing another similar situation? Because right now it seems like teams from Group B are picking up pace, picking up points, moving in the direction, trying to qualify. Do you think it could happen just like South Asia Plains that we ended up seeing, that maybe 5 teams out of the 6 managed to qualify to the grand finals?
The chances are pretty low if you ask me, because there's not been that much of consistency when it comes to teams from Group B. Before we speak further about it, we're going to look at our predictions. I'm going to go with EWG because they need a bit of luck. They've been doing well to an extent. Again, they kind of lack, and hopefully we'll be able to see them at least get a booyah for themselves. Godlike, obviously, because they've got that consistency now. Straw Hats is also one of those teams who have been consistent throughout the day. They've got a bit of a dip which they need to come out of.
Yeah, I think their other counterparts have been performing really well in comparison to what Straw Hats have been doing. And that is one team's name that I have is going to be Extreme X in the second position. Along with that, just like how you mentioned for Lakar EWG, they need a little bit of a luck. I will have GG Instinct in my cards because they have an opportunity here. They have a chance to go make a jump for themselves. I hope they're able to do it. They make that work in their favor. But on top of it, because it's Purgatory, because we already saw a result that did happen, is for iQOO Total Gaming. And now there is an opportunity for iQOO Total Gaming to make it back again once more.
Yeah, absolutely. No, again, I strongly feel like Hotshot Esports or GG Instance are going to be one of those teams who might leave a mark in this game. And nonetheless, we have also seen teams like Akkee who are thriving so hard. I'm not understanding what's happening with this team. They've got a decent amount of eliminations, like 30 plus is what they've got. It's just that the survival has been questioned in every single game. They've got just 17 points in the in the overall standing for ranks itself. So hopefully we'll be able to see them perform otherwise in this game, and we might see some changes happening. But the last game, I was hoping to see a more action oriented game. Because it's Purgatory, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that my predictions come out right.
Just because we've moved towards Purgatory, I feel like as of now, the case being it is my own land, right? Coming in from lands of Purgatory, there's a bright light that I'm looking towards, that maybe there's an opportunity that my predictions go right. Couple of them in my initial ones have made it right. Maybe I am. But we will have to wait and watch, because this is not at all going to be an easy game, because now it is the last game, the actual last game itself. And the day when we started, we were talking about it, that the zone is closing in on teams in Group B. This is the last game and the zone is about to close. There is no other thing that you could do. This is the final push if there is an opportunity that you would have to make on. And unfortunately, for some of them, it's worked out. For some, yet an opportunity as we move towards Purgatory.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just seconds away from getting into this map. Make sure you share it among your friends, and also let us know which among these teams will be making it into the top 12 or probably walk away with a booyah, as we're going to be heading into the biggest map of the day yet again. It's going to be the map of Purgatory. Every other team will have to rely on their snipers to do the deed. And ultimately, in the final circle, for those who survive, is going to have bit of a kerfuffle because a lot of teams tend to survive in the final circles, and action is gonna be throughout.
Action is what we look forward to from the start till the very end, and today it has promised and given us that kind of an action. Unstoppable, unbeatable, and something undeniable is elimination points that some of the teams have been able to grab. And right out of the gate, we end up seeing teams actually go towards Moathouse. That is Lakar EWG, and iQOO Gaming towards Crossroads. It's a general split that we end up seeing from their end, but very close by is Godlike along with Horaa Esports around fields. Could be an opportunity and a fight with even Hotshots in the nearby areas.
Horaa, desperate to get those eliminations, are looking around for as many as they can acquire. Godlike on the other side, look at them. They realize that it's a hotspot. They need to fall back as Nobita is holding one position. It's Nancy who's trying to run away from this position. Hotshot on the other side. I don't know why they're still risking it. I understand that they want to give the best of what they have to end the day on a good note. But if they get taken down, all 4 players, they're going to have just 35 points at the end of the day.
That is not a great spot to be at.
Yeah,
we spoke about it, and then there's a lot that teams will be just wondering on, and that's something that we spoke about in the South Asia Plains is if they just wish and hope that it's going to be okay for them. But right now, making sure that there's no more going to be a wish, GG Instinct take that up in their own control and end up being the elimination leaders in the very start of Purgatory, end up putting players from Extreme X who have troubled them so far throughout the day, get themselves eliminations, very much needed, and finally they cross the mark of 100 in the standings as of now.
100 points crossed. GG Instincts, have they done enough? When I look like teams like Dewa have got 121 points, I straight away say no. But I still feel like, there's more games to be played. But what happens here? It stops. Puts an end for Anas, who eventually gets revived immediately. But Marco was trying to get into an off angle over here. Is going to be shot at a little bit. It's going to be Stops versus him. And let's see which amongst them survive.
Horaa. Stops wanted to take a quick approach and go for the hit, but will be put to a stop itself. Confirmation will also go through. Hotshots now thinking of their own approach. They want to take that vehicle and make a run for it, but the Bolt Maker, the Lightning Zone called upon, and Godlike, they want to have an opportunity to mince and find eliminations in between, but NXT, they come in as a surprise, and there it is, Nobita, he gets spotted, and this is from Straw Hats. Wait, how many teams are falling around the fields? Where did Straw Hats come in from? And with that, there could be a big one as an opening for multiple teams in terms of eliminations.
Absolutely, a Bolt Maker early on in the game shows that they don't want anybody running out in the open. NXT approaching Godlike, but I strongly feel that Godlike might have an answer for this because they're more composed when we compare both the teams out there. They rush in. Sabo through those rushes will be able to put down a player or not, we'll have to see, because Nancy's jiggling around, making sure he puts down a player and gets the confirmation, as well as Yogi on the other side is taking a different fight altogether. But NXT, they'll be able to retaliate well, but Nancy will fall back with Marco. What a game this is turning out to be for Nancy.
Dewa, he gets taken down. Oh no, this is big problem. Hotshot found NXT on their approach, and Godlike on the other end, they kept their footing. That was really bold, and how well they were able to control themselves in the compound while they were getting rushed, and especially shots being missed over there. NXT, not something expected. Monster Truck spotted. They want to take a hit on it, but Marco tried to step out. He thought that Monster Truck had both the players, but that was just a deceit. They wanted to bait him out, and now with the player who's already made a run with his Monster Truck, it'll not be an opportunity. But Marco once again, that valiant dash was valiant enough, thankfully, because of the cover of Nancy coming through. And Nancy, so far in this game, has 2 eliminations already in his name, and he was the one who held off inside this compound while NXT made a jump.
Absolutely. Got like 4 early eliminations, and now they fall back yet again. Horaa, they're also having a similar approach, and this is what I believe is maturity in a game. You understand that sometimes you need to fall back from a fight. Whereas on the other side, Mafia has called in Shanky to make sure that they have a bit of an action towards the Ski Loss region. Brasilia Two teams so close to one another, but NXT have no clue where that final player of HS is. So a lot of these teams are trying to evade fights for now, but ultimately they'll have to come in closer in the latter stages.
Sure, they have to. A slow game is what we kind of end up seeing in Purgatory after the initial circle battle, as everybody goes for a hot drop and a spot to fight against everybody. But right now, Horaa Esports, a big split is what I end up seeing stops. The one who got eliminated very early around the fields is now moving towards Brasilia. NXT on the other end, they've gotten their players back up and they are also moving towards Brasilia. As you already mentioned, in the trail to find the players of Hotshot. And it seems like Action, he's been spotted. Hotshot might be in trouble. Action, can he do something? Yes, he does. He gets a confirmation on Ash. That is going to be a problem for NXT, and this has been happening. They've been unable to land their shots when they needed the situation, and especially Hotshot have not had a great start at all. It's game number 6 right now, but Action finally, him proving his mettle here. There was a lot of expectations when it started, and especially for the region of Pakistan. They wanted to see Action in full action, and so far, he did get some eliminations around Brasilia. But team who needs eliminations to qualify are Pandora. They have 2 in their name and they've managed to put down the teams who are challenging them outside the zone.
Pandora, phenomenal job if you ask me. Whereas on the other side, Dewa, who've got 5 eliminations early on. It's gonna be Adrian leading the charges. Has got 3 for himself. Eventually, they are able to rack up more. My goodness. Does somebody have an answer for this team? I don't think so, because GG Instincts are also receiving so many shots from this team. They might end up getting some more. Swaroop and Power will have to change that position, because all of a sudden we see the North is approaching and Tiger is trying to fall back by flying in the air. And for some reason, GG Instincts, they're getting belted by this team.
They were United. Horus, not a team to be challenging, and now the HP is not that great. Players are getting knocked. Swaroop, he gets taken down, meaning it's only one last player surviving, and Power taking the zip way to run away. Adrian has his sights set, and it's going to be North who puts him down, and that is the end for GG Instinct in the very last game. They only have 104 points. Qualification at stake, and now they have no more to play. Their day has come to an end. Their run in the main event has come to an end, and all that GG Instinct can do is hope that teams mess up tomorrow.
Absolutely. Again, I don't think so. That's a possibility, but what's happening out here? It's gonna be Total Gaming running into the faces of Godlike. For some reason, Yogi was busy on that horse, even though he saw somebody flying in. And ultimately, all he could do was suffice, because the fight back was not there. Godlike are left out with 1 player again. Luckily, is far away from everybody else. Uses the binoculars to find out who's in the nearest vicinity. And we'll look forward to get that revival as quickly as possible. For now, Horaa Savage is going to be pounced upon. It's going to be reset and fixed, coming in closer. The support comes in, but it's not going to be easy as he gets finished off. And eventually, it's going to be Sparses who's looking to fall back.
Passes. He needs to go in for a head-on battle. More points for Horaa Esports. Easier in terms of qualification for the grand finals. Puts reset down and even fix. What a game, but that flash freeze started chipping away on his HP, and with that they will put an end. Oh wait, it was not actually. I thought it was another player from Akkee in that angle, but it's going to be actually Voodoo making a recovery. But Voodoo, how quick is he? He's making sure that no other team try to get close by, and spots another. That's going to be Pandora. Their intention was to get away from here, and now they get caught out. Shots being taken on this AWM, but is there an opportunity? It's only damage and nothing much for Voodoo. But thanks to Voodoo and along with the whole squad, as you can see, they have a total of 10 eliminations, 4 in just Voodoo's name.
Dewa and Horaa are literally ripping this lobby apart. Literally. How many points have they put up? And it seems like they're not going to stop, as Marco is going to land 2 players down on their feet and get that confirmation. This is one of those lads who is impressing us in every single fight he comes to. And there it is. He revives his teammates as well. 7 eliminations. Godlike, again, looking forward for a good finish.
What a way for them to kind of pick up pace. Their start was not as spectacular or something that everybody would want to expect, but right now they've surged around 150 total points and they're still pushing further. And Marco, and their individuals as well. We ended up seeing Marco play really well today. Even Nancy, Nobita has already been doing, and Yogi, you have no questions on his end. However, right as now, being the damage king, we ended up seeing Voodoo. And you obviously had to. You ended up seeing how he saved his teammate from that fight with Akkee. Has a total of 2,600 damage. While we speak about Akkee, they have managed to reset themselves after even going out to those eliminations, have all their players back up. That's a positive for them.
Absolutely. Apart from GG Instinct, every other team is trying to push their limit. And that's how desperate they are to make sure that they make it into the grand finals. Dewa, for the first time we see that Adrian is down on his knees and the retaliation comes through as Buru gets taken down. It's gonna be Kiki. My goodness. One side is Kiki, the other side is Adrian. What can you do to this team?
You can't. There is nothing. There is no way to break an opening. There's no chink in their armor. It's 6 games. This is the 6th one. They're already at 134 points right as now. Very tough to find a way to break through Dewa United Horus. Right now, even trying to find a breakthrough against Godlike has been tough in the last few games that we have witnessed. And Akkee trying to make a jump across the skies will be picking ducks in the making. And Nancy does that. More players are getting picked off. Reset and Fix are close by. Nancy trying to do the damage. And his teammates are moving in. However, quick hit on that revive. Fuarak makes his run, but is it going to be enough? Marco with the Valiant dash coming through. Reset, however, Fuarak, they both pick Nancy and Marco. That dash that they made and the push they did not have any cover coming in from Yogi. However, damage coming in from Yogi, and it comes down to the last few players. NJ Ohio's pick does come through, but Yogi a little too far. Nobita's revive is what he concentrates on, but I think Nobita will also be put to rest, so there is no revive on Nobita. And right now, all Yogi can do is run in the other direction. Almost had this fight, but end up losing a lot of their players because it was not a proper planned strategy hit.
Absolutely. Total Gaming on the other side, you can say the same for them as well, as one of the players just flies away from this position. It's got to be EWG reaping benefits for all the hard work they put in this fight. EWG, one of those teams who are trying to play it safe yet again. They've got 90 points on board. And they want to make sure that they outnumber GG Instance. I don't think so. It's going to be easy for them. But yes, they're trying their best. But Pandora, they get eliminated from the lobby. And they've also completed all their games.
This is not looking great. If teams from Group B start getting picked off in the very last game without a lot of points, right now at the 5th spot at 123, we are also kind of in confusion, because if this kind of a performance ended up happening from the teams in Group C, what can we expect tomorrow when both Group A and C are going to be in their last and few final battles? Yesterday itself was such an explosive day, and today we end up seeing a team dominating the charts in their 6 games. Hopefully, a gap opens up for Group B teams, but at the time being, Kiki is trying to find an opening and a gap. Sparsies, he's stuck. Even the players from Hotshot, and finally confirmation on the hit, but North helps out Kiki over there. And with this, Hotshots have to be worried about a squad that is running right towards them. And that mix is even iQOO Total Gaming, one of the players a little bit stuck. And I'm not sure if the whole squad is going to be there to help out. No, it's only one player from iQOO Total Gaming in that spot.
Hey Dewa, what's happening? That's the best I can say right now. Look at them, 20 plus eliminations, and they're still being ruthless in this lobby. Godlike on the other side, there's a vending machine he can go to, but sadly he's just got 200 coins. He'll have to be very, very careful. Play for survival. Deva on the other side still pushes upon another team, picks up 2 knocks, and Adrian immediately falls back to realize that the final player is somewhere else, and Zax is trying to live up to the moment.
Unfortunate for Hotshot, they get closed in and they get pushed, and Anas is the last man standing right now, just like how we spoke about iQOO Total Gaming. Marco, even the last one surviving, and he puts down the last player from Horaa. How are we coming to the last few survivors from almost every team? Marco, nice fight over there on that Valiant dash that he just used and finds the elimination. But look at the position he's in. He jumps right to the Lakar EWG team, but Fazan puts an end to Godlike as well at that 8th spot. But with that, position is revealed. Dewa United Horus now have Lakar EWG in their foresight. The scope is zoned in, nades being tossed, damage being done. Adrian ready to get up close. I hope their abilities are ready, charged up. They will just use it, run right to the places of Lakar EWG, but it's going to be the first ability coming in from the cryo mind of Lakar EWG on the Nero. But now they countered it with their own throwables, and they surmount it, and they push back Dewa United Horus in such a timing.
Oh, but they walk into their own trap is what I would like to say, because Dewa on the other side seems to be more safer than EWG, and the push comes in from Adrian as he's going to be taking away all that attention, and it's going to be easy for Adrian to land more shots than usual. 3 of them is what he's got, and he's looking for the final one. He puts him down as well. Pulls off a 1v4 almost with not trying to contribute to it. What a boost coming in from this team. Total Gaming on the other side is still alive and fighting, and we'll have to see for how long can they survive.
Aztec with the launcher finds an opening on Varak, but Team Akkee still have a lot more survivors. Make it last 2 as even Dewa United Horus spot them on the bridge. So Akkee will have a difficult run. Reset gets picked off once again, and that's Dewa United Horus having another opportunity. An opportunity of a booyah. Aztec is trying to buy time. Akkee can't do anything as such. NJ Ohio, the last one standing for the team. Can Aztec pick him off? But he ends up seeing the whole lot of Dewa United Horus making a run, and it's going to be Adrian. Do you think it's going to be anybody else? And it is once again Adrian putting an end to the last player of Akkee. Dewa United Horus dominate the whole lobby on day 2 of FFMAI 2026 Spring. In the very first day they make their entry.
Oh, they are enjoying this. Look at them. They're just dancing around. No pressure whatsoever, because from the first game itself, they started to pick up eliminations. And after that, there was no stopping this team. They're going to have a ball tonight. Take my word. And they've enjoyed their games as well. And I believe that in the overall standing, we might see them on the top itself today.
I think after seeing this performance, I feel like, I don't know if somebody gave the wrong timetable for Dewa United Horus. As we take a look at the last shot, look at Adrian here, how he opened up, took down 3 players of Lakar EWG, and they had no breathing space. And then even Akkee had the same thing. Then Adrian makes a quick dash against Aztec, puts him down, gets a confirmation on the last player of Akkee as well to secure this booyah. But I was talking about the timetable, Arka. Yeah. I think somebody told them that today is the last day of the main event and you have to fight. They did not realize it's just the 6 games they've played. Oh my god, this is going to be a crunch to a lot of people on their nerves, and them now preparing for what could unfold in the grand finals.
I don't know, man. I don't know how come they've got so much to, showcase. Look at them. Oh. Have we already witnessed a champion performance? Have we already witnessed the fan favorites for this tournament? 38 points yet again. And they've compensated for those games where they did not reach the 30-pointer. Total Gaming, a 25-pointer shows that they were taking this way too seriously. Godlike gets a 12. A good one if you ask me. Horaa on the other side has also matched the same number. They've got 12 for themselves. Straw Hats on the other side. Good to see them trying to maintain that average.
Towards the South Asia plains, we were seeing around 38 to I think 36. I'm not exactly sure being the highest in terms of total points. But Dewa United Horus, they have been just upping the competition amongst themselves, trying to beat their own highest. 39 was what they put up on the total points today itself, and now they come closer to 38. If there was an opportunity, and if Aztec did not take some eliminations in that last fight, there could have been an opportunity that they would have pushed above 40. Great game coming in from their end, but with that, let's take a look at today's standings.
Oh my goodness.
159. Guys, don't be confused. All these teams, this is standings of the 6 games they've played. All of a sudden, if you're wondering where are the other points, which is just the 6 games, but in that 6 games, Dewa United Horus, and along with iQOO Total Gaming, these two from Group C end up making it to the top 6, but Dewa United Horus take the spotlight, the limelight, the stage, FFMI 2026 Spring, closer to the title, everything in their name. 159 points. Last time when we saw this in South Asia Plains, Arka, it was Revenant X Spark, the squad from India, with a total of around 133 points in the South Asia Plains, dominating, and it was their day 1 performance. In Dewa United, they've upped the competition.
My goodness, I hope that somebody reads their strategy, but they've got the best of the best in their team. It's not going to be easy to take down Adrian, and if you take him down, you got Kiki to back him up, and the rest of the squads as well. Let's not forget North in this game. He's like, hi, this is what I can do. 8 eliminations, 4,751 damage, 8 assists with an AC-80. A beast and an Alvaro. If your Grenadier can be an MVP in amongst the snipers, Just imagine what the sniper of your team can do.
And you can see him having the A1-2 for the thrill of battle. And I'm pretty sure it was a thrilling one for their team because they were nullifying their opponents. They were not giving them the opportunity. They were putting them in lockdown and not allowing their own active skills to be used to try and find an opening. There could have been a situation where Lakar EWG could have done something. I'm not too exactly sure because we did not see the POV, but I'm pretty sure A1-2-4 would have come into play at that point, and that is the reason Adrian just ran right with the Valiant dash. And I was surprised to end up seeing North in that MVP because we also were kind of inclining that Adrian could have been there while Kiki is also there. Who do you count out in this squad? I think finally we have found that dominating squad that we were looking forward to, as the Southeast Asian teams have now made their entry. Yesterday at least it looked like, hey, Indian teams are still looking as strong as we saw in South Asia Plains, but now there's a challenger.
Absolutely, and this is the final boss. They're literally the final boss. In a single day, if they can do this, just imagine, oh my goodness, 5,330 damage coming in from your sniper, 4,500 from Adrian, 4,700 from North. What, the total itself comes up to almost 9, 13 and 50. 16,000 damage from a single team. It's not just limelight, it's the whole sun shining upon them.
Oh my god, Dewa United, Horus. I think this was the devilish thing that just shined on my face, telling me, hey, this is about to happen, unfold, and especially in such a game. But let's take a look at our circle analysis. In the very first circle itself, 8 eliminations in the favor of Dewa United Horus, and from there they look unstoppable. However, I really like how Horaa Esports played in this game. There was their last one. We ended up taking and looking at their fights around field. From there they made their way towards Lumber, and from there also even kept fighting as we moved towards Central. Horaa unfortunately did not have their numbers, who got eliminated because of Godlike Smako, and even Godlike did not have the numbers. However, how the fight this concluded towards Central was just unbelievable. Akkee would have thought that the shift in the final circle would come in their direction, move in their side, and it was about to. But Akkee had already made their move on the bridge, and unfortunately they couldn't wait long enough because also the damage of the play zone, and you can see the bolt maker. So there was so much that Akkee, even if they wanted to withhold, it was not possible, Arka.
But Akkee survival, I'm kind of impressed with that if you ask me. Total Gaming, Akkee as well as Dewa United. These are the 3 teams who are busy racking up so many eliminations in every single circle. You know, ultimately, all that hard work has paid off for these teams. And yes, we see that, you know, there are several teams who get eliminated early on, but they've got a decent 5 to 6 eliminations. But have they done enough? Especially for GG Instincts, it's time for us to witness the overall standing to see where team stands. Don't be shocked if you see the number 6 in the number of matches played by Dewa, and they're going to be at the very top of the overall standing. 159 points in the 6 games played. They are the most unstoppable team in this lobby.
6 games, and that's what they managed to do. I think there's going to be a lot of talking that we'll do tomorrow as well. But one thing that we have to take a look at in the overall standings, Arka, especially for teams from Group B, do they manage to make it? Let's at least take a look if they're in the top 12 for the time being. And it starts off with Lakar EWG. They're at the most bottom as the standing starts for Group B teams. And Lakar EWG, yesterday they had around 35 points. So today is a good turnout. They are brought around 50 to 60 points. Along with them, GG Instinct, they're at the 6th spot at 104 points. Pandora at 123. Extreme X at 139 points. Horaa Esports at 157. And Godlike at 157, matching that same rank, but having the 2nd spot just because of an additional booyah. And remember everybody, we spoke about the tiebreaker rules. In Godlike, as for the time being, have an advantage on it. Do Horaa come down to the tiebreaker? Do Extreme X make their move at that position? Because they also remember how they qualified. There's so much in question. And now let's take a look at the teams who are going to be playing in tomorrow, Arka. Starting it off at the 7th spot is Team Hind. 97 points is what they managed to acquire. Expand, another team who are right now sharing the position with the Lakar EWG from the same region, is Expand. They have 94 points. These are the easy climbers they make their jump towards. But there's Dewa United Horus tomorrow as well, Arka. They're going to be playing once again. Somebody gave them the wrong timetable, that is for sure.
You know, I was about to speak about what could be the cutoff, what could be the teams will be looking at and all those stuff with Dewa United performing like this, and if they continue to do the same tomorrow, I have no clue what the cutoff is going to be. But this is where you guys come into action. What do you think is going to be the cutoff, and how many points do you think Dewa United Horus are going to put on top of the table? Because today has been 150 plus. If they do the same thing tomorrow, 12 games, 300 points. I don't think so any team has achieved that previously.
Yeah, no teams have done it. And Dewa United Horus from Indonesia, and I think this is also something that we started yesterday discussing about. A region rich with history coming into Free Fire Max, and they would have wanted to now take the titles back. We spoke about Thailand having the title, and it seems like finally Dewa United Horus have decided here in Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring, it's time to bring that title back to Asia. It is already in Asia, but for Indonesia. They want that title in their region. Rightfully so, they're performing. However, there's still that chance, right? Because when you go to the grand finals, Arka, it is not that you're on the top of the charts. It's about you getting the champion rush and then the booyah. So open ground for everybody still, but we will talk about it after our main event is ended. There is still 1 day of action. We're talking like it is done. Like that is how Dewa United Horus played, Arka.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for the rest of the Indian teams like GG Instance, and for the rest of those who have completed their 12 games, all they have to do is keep their fingers crossed and hope that the overall standing doesn't cross 100 marker, or probably the cutoff doesn't land at 105. Nonetheless, we have got many teams performing tomorrow. Some big hitters are going to come in tomorrow. We have got Autobots, we have got Revenant Xbox, we have got Total Gaming. All of these teams who are ready to adapt and make sure that they qualify into the grand finals. And tomorrow is the last day you've got that opportunity. Forget about the top of the table for now. Just make sure that you're at the top 12 to make it into the grand finals.
Hope you make sure that you beat every team who's right now in the top 8, because top 8 is where we end up seeing teams from Group B. So if you make your move towards that, and an added on advantage when we compare to the South Asia play-ins is it's not top 8 qualifying, it's top 12. So let's see which teams make their way through. Is it a majority of Group B, majority of Group A, or majority of Group C? All that'll be unraveled, unveiled, and all witnessed tomorrow in action. So make sure you come back at the same time tomorrow, because that's the last day of Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring's main event. All action tomorrow. Take care and see ya.